Hello and welcome. It's that time again when we gather around the sheep squatch and tell ghost stories. Welcome, everybody. Give everybody a second to get here. Hey there, Rodney. How are you all doing tonight? Hopefully, everybody's having a decent Monday. Crazy cat lady. I like your name change, cat mama. Hey, Monica. Good to hear, Rodney. All right, everybody, go ahead and tap the screens and some hearts. Let's get some people in here. Get some spooky people in here. Lots of spooky stories. Last night was pretty spooky. We had some good ones last night. I don't know if you guys were here, but holy cow, we had a ton of people with a ton of spooky stories. Hopefully, we can get some alien abduction stories in here tonight. That's what I'm aiming for. Alien abduction. Do 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 do. Wow, wow, wow. Thank you so much, Tink. Is your name Tink? Tinks. Very cute. Love it. Somewhere to submit stories. Raleigh, you can message them to me if you can't go live. In order to go live on TikTok, you have to have at least 200 followers, be 18, and you can't be driving when you call in. And those are the only requirements, and you can come up. That's my bird. You're going to hear my bird scream a lot throughout this stream. He's having a moment. I don't know. He's irritable today. But anyway, those are the 3 requirements. And if you meet those requirements, feel free to jump in the guest box, come up and share your story. Always looking for alien stories. I know, I love alien stories. Those are the best. And we had quite a few on here sometime back. Where, yeah, my dinosaur is in heat. That is absolutely true. Cat mama. Oh my gosh. But yeah, we had some crazy abduction stories on here not too long ago where people had, like, they said that they had implants from abductions. So, like, pretty crazy. Where is Chris? I don't know. Chris and Joel they just come into work late. They just come in whenever they want to. They'll be here probably, maybe. Hey, Holly. Yeah. In case you guys don't know, I have been throwing all of the past streams. I've been throwing them up over on the other video place. Because free storage. And I haven't been advertising it because I don't know. I'm just putting them up there just so that I have them forever and have access to them, but I don't have to keep them on my hard drive because, like, they're all about 4 hours long, so that eats up a lot of space, and I don't want to have to save all of them. But yeah, Cat Mama, they are. And I've got them scheduled to go up, so, like, a new one goes up every week. Just to space them out a little bit, and give everybody a chance to watch them and whatnot. Lost 5 hours of time, but had unexplainable bruises. Oh my gosh. Yeah, they are great. We have a lot of great guests here. Lots of awesome people who are willing to come up and share their stories with us. Very cool. I really appreciate it. Some Bigfoot stories. Interesting. Yeah, guest box is open, guys. If anybody wants to come up and chit chat about the paranormal, if anybody wants to come up and tell a story, it can be paranormal, extraterrestrial, cryptid, and we also have Glitch in the Matrix, and I'm going to update the banner to include, like, some other things. So if you have, like, some witchcraft stories or occult stories or, just anything cool and spooky, we want to hear it here on the stream, the Spooky Goat Man Nightly stream. So feel free to jump in the box and keep tapping the screen. The more hearts we get, the more people we get, and the more people equal the more ghost stories. Your favorite live. I love that. I love that it's your favorite live. I'm glad that it is enjoyable for everybody. I really, that tickles me, makes me happy. Yeah, so the little pink and blue person down, maybe it's like over here on the screen. I'm not entirely sure how it would look to you guys. There's a little pink and blue person, two little people. That's how you request to get in the box. So if anybody wants to come up and share a spooky story, feel free. And we'll get this show on the road. Start getting creepy. Get creepy up in here. Um, Interesting. Very interesting. Had a cell phone glass broken.
Hello,
Hey.
what's going on?
We are just talking about how tonight we're manifesting UFO abduction stories. That's what we're going for tonight. That's what we want to hear.
Okay, you know what? I forgot to ask you yesterday what you thought the theme was.
Yeah, I think I knew. I think I was thinking about it pretty early on. And then I don't know, I feel like it changed. But I think it was just ghosts. It kind of seemed like we got a lot of just ghost stories, which you would think would be like the common thing, but it actually isn't 100% common here because we get a variety of things. So,
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what it was, man. Because I thought of it and I was gonna say it, but I did it, and now I regret it.
let me turn my sound off real quick. I always forget to do that. I don't want to cause everybody to lose their eardrums. We have a person. We have a Bam Bam. They're nice. Uh, is it connecting?
Hello.
It's not connecting on my end.
No, that's not.
All right, I'm gonna drop you down. You can feel free to jump back in the guest box. Guest box is open, everybody. Anybody wants to tell a story, feel free to come up and do that. And don't forget, if you ain't tapping, you must be napping. Or how does it go? I don't even know.
Yeah, I
Coley
think
will
that
tell us when he gets here.
was Holly talking trash about me.
Holly was giving you down the road, son. Yes, she was. Hello and welcome.
Hmm.
Hello, Bam Bam.
Yeah, I'm here. Can
Yeah,
you hear me?
welcome. Yeah, we can hear you. You got a spooky story?
Yes, ma'am. I've watched you live several times, and to be honest with you, this is the first time I've ever went on and joined to talk with someone.
Cool.
But my first paranormal experience was in 2020. I was one of these people that always wanted to go to haunted places and witness something paranormal until I did, and then I wish I hadn't. But I'm going to keep it kind of short. Um, but in 2021, my wife, I've been with 10 years. Um, One night, she hadn't had much sleep, and I caught her talking in the bathroom and answering herself. And, and I had never witnessed that before. She used to have pseudo seizures before this happened. But once I caught that, she started speaking different languages. Every time I would play something biblical, it would agitate her. So, um, to be on the safe side, I looked up some Catholic prayers. And while doing this, I had my phone on video. And this was just so I could show a psychiatrist her behavior. It would be easier to show than to tell him. And if you go to my profile, I've got a small part of the video. It's about the fourth video on the top row. But something told me to listen to this video. 2 minutes in, I had a demonic voice. I didn't know the language it was speaking, but there was no TV on in the house, just me and my wife. And I had my hand on her head and was speaking prayer. And the second time I said, "In Jesus' name," when the video slowed down, you can hear in the background it's saying "bitch." After that, um, the Catholic prayer I used, she's she was spewing out cuss words so fast that you couldn't even tell. Um, and she had grabbed the crucifix that was off the wall and was holding it upside down at me while cussing. Um, Before this happened, when I was said 2020 was the first time, I believe we had an incubus and succubus encounter because we were having relations, and all of a sudden she started freaking out. She saw another man's face, and I saw another woman's face. And an hour later, I was so freaked out. When she came to me, I had an overwhelming guilt feeling like I had cheated on her. But we had started seeing aberrations then, but nothing demonic until 2021.
All right. Well, we appreciate you coming up and sharing your story with us.
Yes, and thank you for having me. I just wanted
Thank
to
you.
say for all the people out there that's never witnessed anything paranormal, be careful for what you wish for.
Right on. I agree. All right. Thanks. Have a good night.
You too.
All right. I saw somebody's got an alien story. Get up here. Who's got the alien story? That's what
Yeah, I
we're
want to hear
after tonight. We're on the alien train tonight. Um, where did you go? Did they have? Did you see it, Chris? Somebody said they had an alien story.
it. I didn't, but I'd love to hear it.
Is it you? Oh, I see you. Get up here. Oh, we got witch's brew. Witch's brew. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello. Are you with us?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can hear you.
So I got a sort of alien story. Well, I guess it's an alien story. It's something my mother told me, which always tripped us out when we were kids. So it's she was little. She was adopted, and they lived in the country, and she was having these weird dreams, and she would wake up and see something, and it would disappear. Okay, like it was like a shadow figure or something, and it would disappear. Then one night, and this is short, guys, I'm sorry about it. One night she woke up, and clear as day, she said, and this is at night, and this is in the country, and this is back in the 60s, a blue alien at her feet. She said he was just staring there, and she screamed. It took a while for her parents to come in there, and he jumps out the window. So this is why we kind of like give her credit, because he didn't like disappear, fade away, like he went out the window. And the other details in the story were he was wearing clothes, like he wasn't like a naked creature. He was like, but he was the kind that had the big eyes, and she saw him as blue, not like gray or green, blue. And whenever she tells this story to this day, all the details are the same. So I don't know, guys. And this was like in Texas, farm country land. They lived on a farm, and that's when people slept with the windows open. And yeah, so that's my story, guys.
Very interesting. I don't think I've heard of a blue
I
alien
know.
before. It's pretty cool. All
Yeah.
right. Well, thank you for coming up.
You guys take care.
You
Yes,
too.
ma'am.
Sounds like Crazy Frog to me.
Crazy Frog?
Yeah, you remember the Crazy Frog from those
I think,
dumb
yeah,
commercials?
I think so. Crazy. Let me Google it. Crazy Frog. Yeah,
Is he
okay.
blue?
He is blue, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
That's crazy. There's a lot of stuff happens in Texas. I don't know if it's because it's just so big and the odds are higher because of the sheer size of it. That could probably be it. Also,
Yeah,
there are a lot of Air Force bases out there. Um, Maybe that
right.
has something to do with it.
I think so.
Wait. Tommy says what? What? That's not weird at all, is it? Are you talking to me, Tommy? Because I'm not in Moorhead. I haven't been for many years.
Oh
Um,
gosh.
yeah.
What did that
Doesn't make
one?
me uncomfortable at all.
What did that one guy tell you one time?
The guy that
Oh,
called me darling.
oh, is that what he said? He's like
Yeah, well,
nice.
there's.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Chris. It's fine.
No, no, I was just trying to remember what he said. He said something like "nice to see you again, darling," like he was Conway Twitty or something.
Yeah. Hello, darling. It's been a long time. I don't know the words to that song.
I love it though.
You like Conway Twitty?
Well, because of Family Guy, you know how they played those like two full songs?
I don't watch Family Guy.
No? Oh, come on, Sarah. Yeah,
No.
but
Uh-uh.
yeah, I like it because of that.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with anything they do on Family Guy. I've seen a little bit of it, but I don't really know that much about it. Uh Everybody tap the screen, send some hearts, get some people in here. Ow, my elbow. Oh, my headphone. Oh my god. I'm so old. I call my earbuds headphones, and then people get confused, and they're like, "Oh, you use headphones?" No, they're earbuds. I can't learn new words. You can't teach an old dog new tricks, guys. That's truth. That's how it goes.
Sarah's been drinking.
I wish. I'm a celiac. I can't. It's depressing. I wish I could though. One of the live streamers that I watch, he always gets lit on his
Uh,
streams. Trying to think
yeah.
of a word I could say. Uh, he's always like downing them left and right, and I'm just like, that must be so much fun. But I wouldn't know. Um,
There's Tully.
yeah, yeah, Tully's here. We need to find Tully a UFO abductee tonight. We've got to find a witness that's willing to do an interview. That's our goal. So we got to get some alien stories in here. So if we all say alien, put some aliens in the chat, maybe we'll get into that part of the algorithm. Get over
Yeah.
to alien talk.
I was thinking last night. I hope we get a. I hope we get a Phoenix Lights witness in here one day.
That would be cool.
That would be cool.
Just look up is apparently they have alien stories, but they are not in the box. And it's like, what are you doing? Get up here. Get in the guest box. Come
They
tell
don't have
us your
enough
story.
followers.
Oh, they don't?
No.
Oh, that
Yeah.
sucks. See some aliens in the chat. All right, guys, tap that screen. Let's get some people attracted to the stream so that we can get some stories. Got to get into the algorithm. Oh, looks like we got somebody. Hello and welcome.
Oh, hi. This is the first time that I see this live. So I got interested because I'm new in all this kind of a spirit world. And one of my gifts is healing. Yes, I'm kind of that. I'm learning. But the other day I was in another live. I don't remember the name of the profile of the TikTok account, but I have this experience and I would like to share with you. I'm sorry, what is your name?
My name is Sarah.
Okay, hi Sarah, nice to meet you. Okay,
Yes.
the other day, a guy, he was sharing his testimony, and he was saying that he got some marks in his body from nowhere, and he went to the church, and he said he started talking language and all this stuff, and the person who was there, she suggests that probably he needs to find like a priest or something, because now he was talking about a possession, right? So as I say that something like that happened to me and last year around October, with the moon. Yeah, I think it was October 14th, and I think it was an eclipse moon. moon. Yeah, I think it was something like that. So I we get in touch. I get contact to him to help him, but something weird happened at the moment that we were talking, and he sent me the pictures. And yes, I mean, I get some marks in my foot, in my right foot. It was like blood. And when I wake up and I saw my mark, I was like, "Oh my God, what happened?" And I get to take a shower, and I was trying to take off all this mark that I have in my right foot, and they still there. It wasn't blood. I mean, I don't know what was that. Anyways, so I contact uh I don't know, like a white witch, and I talked to her about my situation. So she helped me. So I was trying to do the same thing with this guy. But at the moment that he was talking to me, it was okay. This is more like an example that some people is dealing with the inner shadow, that sometimes it's more easy um find another how can I say this, I mean, another guilty guy. I mean, he he was doing that on himself, and he was saying that it was a demon, a demon. So when he was talking to me and explain all these cases and his wife and blah blah blah, I talked to him very directly, and I asked him to be honest with me, because if he wants to be healed, uh, I mean, he cannot lie to me. Even if I want to believe on him, even if I want to trust him, he needs to be honest, because sometimes humans, we dealing with these shadows, with this dark that we have, and we have not this culture to accept our shadows. It's better, or it's easy to uh like to have another, I mean, it's better blame a demon, or it's easier to blame a demon instead or accept our darkness. So this guy, he never answered my message after this, and I understand that, because in the past I was dealing with this. I deal at this point of my life, and I'm new on this. My gifts get an evolution on last April 2000. Yeah, it was April 23rd, 2023, when my gifts like boom, like flower. I don't know, because I have an incident with my boy. My boy was 3 years old, and he he died. I mean, he was in the pool, under the water, like for 3 minutes. And when it was a public pool, so when one boy found him and he taken out from the pool, we spent like between 6 or 8 minutes to bring him back. After that, oh my gosh, I just, the things that I saw, the things that I feel, the things that I heard, is like a horrible movie. And it's sometimes and the first time I was thinking that I was getting crazy, or I'm a Christian, and my mom is Christian, my grandmother is Catholic, and I was like, sometimes I call them and I say, hey, I think I'm getting crazy. Definitely because I saw things. So I was studying. I have a spiritual guide here and the earth, and I had this experience with, at this moment, with two kinds of entities. My first duty, it was helping a friend in my little town in Mexico. He came and he asked me for help because he's telling me that someone is doing, I don't know how can I say that in English, brujeria, like witch
Witchcraft.
witch work or something like that.
Witchcraft.
Yeah, that thing. Thank you. Um, but since the first moment that he started talking, his mom, it was too relevant for me, and it was like, okay. So this is a deep story. It was my first duty, and I was like, I wasn't scared, but it was so hard to believe the thing that I was seeing. Okay, he explained to me that his brother, 6 months ago, he was seeing something that he get scared. His brother, he was 16 years old. So he showed me some pictures that of his brother holding in the right hand my Archangel Michael, and on the other hand, I don't know how can I say this in English either. El Señor de la Misericordia, like Jesus with two lights getting from his heart. Okay, this guy, 16 years old, it was seeing something in his house. So he tried to kill him. I don't know. He tried to unlive himself. So the family, their parents, decide to put in an like recovery clinic, something like that, because I think he was using drugs. I'm not sure how was exactly the situation, but I came to this house and I was talking with his mom. I'm talked to his dad, and I get a conclusion. I talked to his mom because it was a really bizarre situation. The boy, he was 16 years old, and he's still sleeping in the same bed with his mom. His mom and his dad have like more than 10 years sleeping in a different bed. So everything, it was really weird. So I asked the permission to get into the room to the guy who was sleeping. In Mexico, most of the houses, especially this is like a ranch, a little farm, and most of the rooms, they don't have doors. They only have a curtain. So they still have in the en ¿hablas español tú? La persona que está en el otro?
Um, yeah, not that great, but yes, I do a little bit.
Ok. O sea, ¿sabes cómo se llaman esos techos que son como de teja?
Um,
Y luego les ponen como una lona para que no se meta la basura. No sé si le puedes explicar un poquito el contexto para poder yo decir qué fue lo que pasó.
um, are you talking about the gutters?
Mm, ok. The sibling? ¿Cómo se dice techo?
Techo roof?
Roof. Okay, yes, the roof. Okay. The roof in Mexico, I don't know what is the name in English, but this kind of, es como un ladrillo, pero es una teja.
Um,
This is a
well,
very
like
old
shingles, I
construction.
think.
What was that?
I think they're called shingles. I'm not too sure what they're called, but I know what you're talking about.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, so they have this kind of plastic, really big plastic on the roof to avoid the little, the dust and probably scorpions or this kind of, insects or spiders. So they have in the roof, they have a big plastic to avoid those. So at the time, that I get into the room, it wasn't not door. I mean, nothing. I just get in, and the sound and the thing. It was like if it was like if I opened the door like a, you know, abruptly, and then like a big air come in, and the sound is it was like así como bufando, decimos yo, no sé cómo se diga en inglés bufar. And I was like, oh my God, what is that? I didn't know what was the bed. I just figured out because that thing that I saw, it was just above the bed. And it was like a really big animal, black, totally black, black. I mean, nothing, no light on this animal, nothing. The eyes, he was really big and really black. Okay, there was a kind of mix between a koala and, oh my God, what is the name del perezoso? Sloth? El
Yeah.
perezoso?
Yes.
Okay, so the face, it was like a koala, but a big one, a huge koala, and the rest of the body, it was like a sloth with a big tail like a zora, but really like big, just like breathing, no moving, no move, only it was stay there above the bed. And I was like, oh my God. I start doing my prayers, and I was a little nervous because I didn't know what was that. It was my first duty after all these kind of events that I have personally with my boy, and all the stuff that I saw in my house. And this one, it was really, I know it wasn't good, but it wasn't afraid. So when I talked to my guide, she told me, "Oh, Moni, the thing that you saw, it wasn't a demon or it wasn't a entity. It was like, well, like an ente from the mom. The thing here, I was dealing with like a narcissist mom. This is the thing this is my point. Humans, we like a humans, we have this power sometimes. Sometimes the pain is so big, and all this kind of the stuff that the mom suffer indirectly, or I mean, I'm not sure if it was on purpose, but all this feeling, all this emotion of angry uh, with her husband, it was on his son. I'm not sure if it was on purpose or not, but I was like, oh my gosh. So this thing that I saw, it was his mom energy. It wasn't a demon. It was that, and that totally resonate with me because around October, I have a demon in my house, and it was totally different. It was totally different. By the way, when I did the job to take the demon out of my house, two eggs, big eggs, by the way, appears in my right, and it was like, oh my gosh, what is this? So this is a really weird world. Sometimes we want to, like to justify our acts with demons, and sometimes it's only our darkness. It's really,
Yeah, I agree.
I'm trying
Actually, I
to
think that
learn
makes a
a
lot of
lot,
sense.
and I'm trying to learn to have this knowledge, to know the difference between what I'm dealing with, because
Yeah,
if it's a demon,
yeah,
it's one way, but if it's your darkness, I mean, it's another way. So yeah, guys, sorry for my English.
Oh, your English is fine. We appreciate you. Thank you for coming up and sharing your story.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, past trauma manifests into, yeah, absolutely. I think it does. I think that I have noticed personally with some paranormal investigations and the homeowners and stuff, a lot of times they would be having periods of time where they were kind of in a dark place mentally, we'll say. Um, and yeah, it absolutely can manifest into what appears to be paranormal activity. And also, if you have old wiring in your house, believe it or not, it can make you think that your house is haunted.
Yeah.
I don't know where Chief is. I haven't seen him on for a while. Like anytime I get on TikTok, he's usually on live somewhere, and it'll show up in my feed that he's live. But I hope he's okay because he's usually on quite a bit. I don't know where he's at. He might show up tonight. Everybody tap the screen. Let's try to get the number back up. We've kind of bottomed out here in the last 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, however long. I don't even know how long I've been on here. Like 46 minutes. Um, let's try to get some people in here. Get some ghost stories. We want to hear your spookiest ghost story. We want to hear specifically if you have an alien abduction story. That's what we're hoping for tonight. But I think the algorithm has already picked us for a pocket. We got to get out of the pocket that we're in. We got to get over to the alien side, okay? Spookiest stories, your spookiest. Um, I think we're having connection problems tonight, is what it kind of seems like. Hello and welcome.
Hello, my name is Lizzie, and I don't have an alien story. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
So I just kind of want to talk about the highlights and share. I've been listening to you, and I've been listening to the guests that, I've been listening for a couple of months, and it's really nice to know I'm not the only one that has experienced the paranormal or demonic infestation or torment. But so back in 2021, I lived close to Yosemite. I had a home close to Yosemite National Park, and I had lived in the Bay Area my whole life. So this transformation was a big deal for me. I really was, I was going through a healing from a divorce. I was struggling with substance abuse, and I got really lonely in the mountains. But anyways, so I was studying to get my real estate license, and I had no furniture in the house. And my mom is a very religious woman. She's from Mexico. She's Catholic, Mexican Catholic. So she brought me back some holy water. And during this time, this is when I was just kind of like over the whole Catholicism, religion. I don't have the greatest relationship with my mom. So in a way, I kind of resented her and the religion. But as a child, I always had a connection with God. And, but anyways, so she came back. I call my mom the Pope groupie because she goes and follows the Pope everywhere. And so she brought me back this bottle of holy water from the Holy Land. And I would tell her that I would see dark shadows at night. And she's like, yeah, you're probably scared, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, no, I don't think so. So like, I was contemplating it, because I was using a substance. I was, I did have substance abuse, but I knew that what I was seeing was not in my mind. So I even did recordings, try to capture as much as I could on video, So anyways, I was all I had was a mattress in the middle of my living room. That was the only place I felt comfortable, because in my bedroom, I would see the shadow people that would like walk across the shadow of the moon. And it just really made me feel uncomfortable. I just knew I wasn't alone, and I just couldn't wrap my head around it. So the only place I found comfort sleeping was pulling my mattress into the living room, and I would sleep there. So during the day, it was like around 3 p.m. and I'm studying my real estate book. And I had placed that bottle of holy water that my mom brought me back from the Holy Land on top of my wood stove. And as I was like concentrating and reading, my real estate books, the bottle of holy water just flies across my living room. And I had a pretty big living room. And because of like my mood and my attitude, I just really didn't think much of it. I literally said out loud, whoever did that, stop it, which is weird. And then I went back to reading the book. I guess when you see shadow people and like orbs in your house, and you're just like, what the heck is that? Like a bottle flying across the room, I guess didn't faze me as much. I don't know. So anyways, things were escalating really bad. Clothes in my closet were moving. I would hear bangs on the walls. Really weird stuff. It just started escalating at night, escalating. And so there's one church, and it's in the town of Mariposa. It's the outside town of Yosemite. And talked to a priest there, let them know it was during COVID time. So he had spent 2 hours with me on the phone, and he said, it sounds like there's something going on there. And I said, okay, Father, well, would you please be so kind to come and bless my home? And he says, well, I'll have to schedule that. But in the meantime, I want you to start attending Mass again. And I'm going to send you home with some exercise salt and some exercise oil and also some exercise holy water. And here's what I need you to do. So I did that. Things did not get better. And so I told him, and I said, Father, it's getting worse. Things are not stopping. So then he said, I don't want to come to your house. He says, I'm not prepared for this. I'm to be honest, I'm scared. I don't want to go. So it really turned my feelings towards the Catholic Church. Like it started getting real personal. I'm just like, okay, what is the point of being a priest? Why am I in this religion? Why is it like, it just really kind of threw me for a loop. So I felt alone. So I went months with more of this torment in the house. So finally, then I went to another priest, which is my family's priest. And then that priest told me, the Catholic Church doesn't believe in that stuff. And I was completely beside myself. I was like, okay, one's too scared. The other one says the Catholic Church doesn't believe in it. So, it kind of felt like I was kind of being set up to rage. I just felt the rage inside of me, just want to disrespect priests, right? I lost all respect for them. So finally I got help, and I found an exorcist in Santa Clara, California. But when the second priest denied me any kind of help, Father Steinke, the exorcist, was the third one. But before I found the right priest, exorcist, I was in my kitchen. It was during the day. It's probably like around 12 or 1. And I have these floor to ceiling mirrors. I had 2 of them in my living room. And I look, I was in the kitchen chopping up some food, and I look down the hallway into this mirror. And I saw this image, and he had a dark cloak on, sucked in cheeks, very pale, you could kind of see kind of like darkness, like where his cheekbones were. He had yellow eyes and he had a serpent tongue, and he had like that hood thing on. So I walked towards the mirror, and it's like my brain couldn't wrap around what I was seeing. And I was looking at it, and it was just looking at me and sticking out its tongue. And his tongue was long and pointy, and he had those yellow eyes with dark pupil, and I was just mind blown, because I don't mess with any kind of like voodoo, witchcraft, santeria. Like I've, never been into stuff like that. No Ouija board, anything like that. So I was a little like, in my mind, I tried to wrap around what was going on. And then I came to this realization. Now, I'm not saying I'm correct or anything, but I verbalized to this, demon in my mirror. I said, I know who you are, and you're wasting your time, because I'll always love Jesus no matter what. And then he was still like staring at me and sticking out his tongue, making these ugly faces at me. Then he pulls out this black coin, and with this coin, it had a pentagram on it, and in the lines of the pentagram, you could see flames of fire. And then he put the coin to his eye and was kind of rotating it. And I was just completely baffled. Like, what is he doing? And then out of nowhere, outside of the mirror, there's this cloudy image of Jesus on the cross, and also an image of the Guadalupe. So she was like in that concha, like in that shell. And they just like floated away. But as soon as like the Jesus on the cross and the Guadalupe came, the image in the mirror disappeared. So when I saw Jesus on the cross and the Guadalupe, I thought, oh my God, my problems are over. But no, it was just the beginning. Things got worse. So that was the most terrifying. Besides being tormented in the house when you can't fight or get rid of something you can't touch or feel or see sometimes, because I would set up video footage. I did hire a paranormal group called Jeepers Creepers, and I think they're based out of like it's one of those farm towns in California, and I actually submitted the audio that I had and the video that I had, and they did let me know in a couple days. They're like, you have something demonic in your house. I was like, yeah, I know. 2 priests won't come. I had a misunderstanding of what paranormal groups were. They're really there to debunk and to actually make sure that what's happening is really happening. So anyways, I actually had that video, the ones that the paranormal group told me, like, yeah, there's something demonic there. I was able to find that exorcist, and that was by mistake, that I ran into him. But I know it was probably God's plan to show me some mercy. And I feel my personal take on it is, I feel like Jesus wanted to teach me how to fight and how to pray the powers of darkness, because I completely lost touch with that, and which makes sense now to me, because when I was younger, I was connected, and then I lost my faith because I got caught up in working and money and things that are just more realistic, and I left my spiritual side. So anyways, then when the exorcist was teaching me my prayers and what I needed to do, and so I'll end the story right now, but the Archangel Michael came and helped me fight all all the darkness that was at my house. And he came at 8 in the morning and did not leave for 2 days. So I was able to see him in the sky. And I didn't know anything about the Archangel Michael until I read the books that the exorcist gave me. And he really helped me. But the first thing I did when I saw the angel in the sky was thank you, Jesus, because I knew he was sent by Jesus, you know. But he had the strappy sandals, the beautiful big wings, and the only interaction we had with each other was a smile. So since then, I could tell you that my life has changed drastically. But whenever I hear people that are being tormented by any kind of darkness, I believe them, and I just want to let people know that you're not alone and that it's real, and it can really ruin your life if you don't know how to get the help that you need. And I just really appreciate the safe space that you have so people can share their stories, because it's important for people to know.
All right. Well, we appreciate you coming on.
Okay, thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks, you too. I know, werewolf. I know. Jesus. No, tonight's not going to be a demon night. Absolutely not. It's enough demon slander. That is enough demon slander for the night. My feelings are hurt. Let's get some alien stories, guys. I think we're definitely in a pocket. We'll get out of it. Everybody put UFO emojis in the comment section. Jesus.
I think Sarah's gonna throw up all over the place.
It's gonna be pea soup. It's gonna be split pea soup, and it's coming out soon. Yeah, so just for anybody who's new here, and I know my numbers bottom back out again. We don't normally do religious stories here. That's one thing that's one of my rules. We don't normally do religious stories. So let's get back to aliens. Let's talk about some squatches. Let's talk about some other cryptids. I'm actually making a picture right now for alien night. We're going to do an alien night. I'm going to put it like a big alien head on the screen. I wish I could load it while I'm on here. I hate streaming from my phone. I wish I could do it on my iPad so I could just drag and drop it. But I've got a really cool alien picture we're going to do. Yeah, we need some ghost stories. We need some Hatman stories. We need some alien stories. Yeah, but I've got Chris. You're gonna love it. It's so spooky. It's very cool. UFO, big alien, very cool. It's like we got a person. Cat Mama, yes, yes. Thank you, Cat Mama.
Cat Mama.
Oh, she's gone. She got abducted. Meow. No, I've never heard of the Devil's Trampling Ground. Oh, that was a mistake. Oh, you can come up anyway and hang out with us if you want to. Tell us a story that you've already told us. Chris, tell us one of your stories. Ramble for a little bit. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go make a cup of coffee real quick. It shouldn't take long. I'm gonna use the Keurig, so I'll be right back.
Right,
you can get the next guest if you want.
Okay. All right. Go for it. Cat Mama, do you want to come back up? Because I see you in the guest box. Hello.
I was gonna say that there's a lot of new people here on the so maybe you and Sarah would want to tell some of your stories, your paranormal stories.
Yeah, maybe we should.
Some of
My stories aren't that great, but Sarah has some good ones.
like I'm pretty sure you got a lot of ghost stories. You're a horror fanatic, right?
Yeah, but the funny thing is, I'm like a hardcore skeptic, so I don't even really believe in it. I'm just kind of here to make jokes. I'm the comedian. No, actually, it's funny because I don't really believe in it, but I have stories, which doesn't make sense.
That involve
Um,
you or don't involve you?
what? What?
Like you said, you're a skeptic, you have stories, but do they
Yeah,
involve you or they don't involve you?
they do, but it's like I try to think to myself, well, maybe it was this or maybe it was that, because I feel like a lot of times people just jump to, oh my god, it was an alien, or oh my god, it was a demon. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's normal to try and figure out what you saw, but I think you should still tell your stories.
Yeah. But I did have two like really crazy experiences that kind of that I can't really explain. So, it, it's not that I don't 100% believe in this stuff. I have like an open mind to it. You know what I mean? Like I hope that one day we do have evidence of aliens and evidence of ghosts that isn't fake. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah, but no, for the people that haven't heard my stories before, I have two that were crazy. I saw a UFO one time, and I heard a disembodied scream in my friend's house, and those were like the two things that I would say are my craziest stories. And the weird thing about the UFO was that it wasn't like a craft. You know how usually it's like a craft with lights.
Hmm.
The one that I saw was like a ball of glowing plasma in the sky, and it shot up into the sky really fast, and it left like a little trail of that goo or whatever it was.
You know these stories are like really great, and you have to like elaborate on them. You can't be just shooting them off at us. So
Well, it's because I was trying to give you like the short version before Sarah came back.
No, go ahead and do the long version.
oh, listen, Chris. Go back to your first story. I want to know all the details. Like, when did this happen? What time did this happen? Like, who was around you? Like, you got to give the details
About the UFO one.
about both of them. Because remember,
Well,
there's a lot of new people here, and we haven't heard your stories.
the UFO one isn't that long. Basically, one of my friends was dropping me off, and this was late at night, and he was taking me to my house, and so we were just there talking, and then we both saw it at the same time. It was just this thing in the sky, and it was really weird looking. It was like a glowing ball of goo,
Hmm.
just really strange. And as soon as we saw it, it shot up into the sky, and it left like a trail of whatever that stuff was that it was
Hmm.
made out of. And it was just the weirdest thing I've ever seen. And we were both just kind of like, what the heck was that? And like, we were talking about it for days afterwards, trying to like, figure out like, what it was.
So
But
you had another person see it with you, so you had another witness.
yeah, and it sucks because I don't talk to that guy anymore. So
Mhm.
like, I feel like I have nobody to like share that with
Well,
anymore.
you
But
shared it with us, and we appreciate it.
yeah, well, not share it with, but like, I wish I could still talk to him about it. Like, oh, you remember it when we saw that thing?
Yeah.
Um, But yeah, it was just the weirdest thing I've ever seen. That was probably the weirdest experience.
Now
But
the ghost, the 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 other one, the ghost story, the disembodied voice. Details. Go ahead, we're listening.
well, it was with the same friend actually, and we were hanging at. We used to hit. Okay, his parents had another house that was like abandoned because they were fixing it up or whatever, and we would sneak in there to like smoke cigarettes and just hang out.
Hmm.
And one night we were there, and we were in the master bedroom of the house, and we noticed that on the mirror in that room, it looked like there was like the print of somebody's face on the mirror, like if somebody had put their face up against
Hmm.
it. And I told him to go put his face on it, and he's like, "No," and I'm like, "Come on, dude, go do it." And he's like, "Okay, fine." So he goes and he like presses his face up against the stain that looked like a face.
Hmm.
and we just kind of laughed about it. And we went over to the living room, and we were smoking cigarettes, getting ready to leave. And then all of a sudden, we just hear the craziest, like, I hate to say demonic, but it sounded like a crazy demonic scream
Hmm.
come from the room where the mirror was.
I'm sorry, this
And
happened during the day or night?
night.
Okay. Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I was thinking, well, maybe it was like a cat fight going on outside, but I don't think so. It was definitely not a cat, and it
We
definitely came from inside the house.
we humans are just naturally skeptics, so when weird stuff happens, we do try to explain things and figure it out. But I really think you should try and get in contact with that guy.
Uh huh.
Like you everyone, well, I mean, not everyone's on social media, but maybe you want to check social media, see if he's on social media, and just get in contact with him and be like, hey, do you remember? And let us know. Like that'd be cool.
Yeah, I've tried to get in contact with him a few times over the years, but I don't know. He just doesn't seem interested in like reconnecting.
Yeah,
Um,
unfortunately, when we get older, like you lose friends. I get it.
yeah, and what's funny is that he lives in that house now where that happened because they eventually finished fixing it up.
Hmm.
So he lives there now. But that house, I was telling Sarah about this not too long ago. That house just has like weird vibes. Like
Old
it's a
house.
creepy house. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Sarah, are you back?
Yeah, I'm listening. I think Cat Mama needs to be my new co-host.
Yeah.
Chris, you're devoted.
Sarah, I was just saying that, we have a lot of new subscribers and that you and Chris should tell some of your stories about your experiences. That's why I told Chris to tell his stories. I do have one. It doesn't involve me. It involves my area. It's like a cryptid kind of one. So if everyone who's new doesn't know, I live in Long Island, New York. Um, so there's a lot of weird stuff that goes on throughout the years in Long Island, New York. So I'm sure everyone has probably heard of this, but we have it's like a animal testing like bio something facility. It's called Block Island, and a lot of strange stuff has happened like well over a decade ago. But a lot of strange stuff was happening at that place. Um, like I'm sure everyone's heard of the Montauk Monster.
Yeah.
So ap- apparently they were there. Whatever they're doing, it's probably like genetic and animal, all kinds of animal genetic fusion and all that creepy stuff that you like literally hear about, like the island of Dr. Moreau type shit. Oh, sorry, I don't mean to curse. But so apparently there was this creature, and it washed up on one of the beaches in Long Island, and it looked like it might have been like half dog, and it had like a beak, and like you can Google the Montauk Monster, and the information will come up. And it happened twice. There were two animals, I believe, that were found washed up on beaches on Long Island, and everyone's really thinking that they came from Block Island because Block Island is a testing facility, right? And who knows what the heck they're doing over there, right? Um, Also, this one I just recently found out about. So apparently, there was a guy who was in a boat, and he washed up on shore in the boat, or he was found in the boat, something like that. And I can't remember the details, but again, you could probably Google it. He like was missing an. Oop, am I off? Did I leave? Oh, sorry. I thought I had gotten disconnected. But apparently, he was like missing an arm, and he was just very weird looking. So people are thinking that he might have been an experiment that escaped also. But yeah, you can look up this stuff on the internet.
Yeah, I think I know the. Yeah, are you talking about like a specific picture with the Montauk monster? Because I think I know the picture you're talking
The
about.
Montauk Monster, you can definitely Google that one, and because there's an actual picture of it. But the guy that wound up in the boat, I just recently found out about that one. I didn't know that one happened, but you could probably look that up on the internet too and get some information about it. Like he just was like, I think he was like missing an appendage. So and like I said, people think that he might have been like an experiment that escaped the island because it's a federal facility. You have to have high clearance to work there. Like you have to take the ferry over from the mainland just to get to the island and back and forth. And like apparently, you have to like go through like a decontamination type thing, and apparently, Lyme disease came out of that facility, and it's named Lyme disease because they released the ticks in Lyme, Connecticut. You can you can Google and read about that too.
Oh, I actually
And
know a lot about that part of the story. I have Lyme
oh,
disease.
oh, you do? Oh, I'm
Mhm.
sorry, Sarah.
It
But
sucks. It really sucks.
well, you can blame your government for giving you that because they literally use it like a bioweapon and they released it on the populace, which is nothing new. It's nothing new for us, you know. But all right, that's what I wanted to say. Anyone else have any stories?
Yeah, we got some people, I think. But yeah, thank you for coming up. If you want to hang out with us, just anytime you want to come
Sure.
up, come up.
I'll hang out. I'll put on mute and I'll hang up here. All
Okay.
right.
Um, I don't know who was first. I'll just go in order of the box. Hello and welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Fine. I just want to share my little scary story that happened a year ago in my apartment.
Okay.
I live on the second floor with a balcony. And me and my family was on the balcony in July last year. And it was in the evening, and I've been in my apartment, remind you, like 20 years. I never experienced nothing like this before. So we was on the balcony and we was talking, and all of a sudden we see two shadows, a woman and a man, just dancing on the wall that's next to my apartment building. It's a plain wall. You could just see from the light shining from the street light to that wall, and they was just dancing around like in the 1800 dancing. And we was like, what is that? And everybody was like freaking out because everyone saw it. It wasn't just me. It was like 6 family members was on the balcony with me. And they was just dancing around, and then all of a sudden he would put his hand like in a strangulation, like he was strangling the woman that he was dancing with. And then a few minutes later he came back up again and started dancing with the same woman again. And then after that, they danced for about 20 minutes. And then all of a sudden we was wondering what happened to the shadow. We looked across the street to another house, an old house, and he actually opened up the window. We seen him open the shadow, open up the window, and went in, bending his back to go inside the second floor window of this house across the street. That was so crazy to us.
Yeah, that is crazy. Wow. I don't think I've ever heard a story like that.
Yeah, two shadowy
Wow.
figures, a man and a woman. You could tell they from the shadow the way they was dressed, like in the 1800s, from the shadow.
Yeah. Wow.
It sounds
And
crazy, but that's what happened.
and you said that's the only thing that you've ever experienced in that particular place?
Yes, first time ever, and I've been here like for 19, 20 years. But that
Wow.
but that month of July last year, that's when it happened. It was hot outside, and it was at night, and
That's so
we
strange.
all seen it.
So strange how stuff like that can just pop up, just one time thing.
Yeah, yeah. So from then on, I believe in ghosts. I don't know what it was. It was shadows, two shadows. You could tell it was a lady and a man. And they was just dancing. He was swinging her around, putting her down, coming back up again. And then he tried to, like you could tell, like he was strangling her. And then she left. And then a couple of minutes later, she came back. It was like a repeated thing he was doing to her. And then he went inside that house across the street by himself. We saw him. The shadow went down into that window. The window was cracked across the street, you can tell. And he went across the street to that older house, a very old house, and then across the street from me.
Oh, that's so creepy.
Yeah. But it never
thank you
happened
for-
again. It never happened again.
Yeah.
And
Hopefully it doesn't, because I don't
never
know.
went on that balcony, my porch again ever since then. I don't think, except go in and out, the way my apartment is made.
Yeah, I don't think I'd want to live with that kind of spooky activity.
Yeah, but I never experienced it since I've been here. And I'm like, well, it was outside of my apartment. It wasn't inside of my place. It was outside.
Yeah.
Reminding you we could see it on the wall from another building. It was a plain wall, and the light was shining from the street light directly on that building. That's how we saw the shadows, two shadows. Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you coming up here and telling us that. That's a pretty spooky one.
Yeah. Thank you. I just wanted to say
Thanks.
that.
Thank
You're welcome.
you.
Bye-bye.
That's pretty neat. Let's see. Chris got abducted again, guys, just so you all know. He got abducted. All right. We got one more person in the box. Did have a few. Some of them vanished for some reason. Hello and welcome.
Yo, what's up? How you doing? How you guys doing? Thanks for letting me in.
Good. How are you doing?
I'm all right. You know what I think? It's like a lot of these activities happen on the ley lines of on the globe. You know what I mean? So it's like if you're like on a spot of like a specific like a area that it could let these entities in, it will happen. And I have a lot of stories to tell you, but like I live like on the 33rd. Like it's like a ley line where a lot of activity happens, and the most spookiest thing I could tell you is like this is, I mean, there's a bunch of them I could tell you, but like that's what I'm saying. Like where I live at, it's like a bunch of weird things happen, and it's like I think it's just like the layons of the planet. You know what I mean? Like how the energy fields like let the portals open, and I think that's when these entities come through. I mean, could you agree with me or not?
I think there's some debate about ley lines, but it's definitely kind of something that a lot of people in the paranormal community talk about. Personally, I don't know what I think about that concept, but so what's your spookiest spooky story?
The most vicious one was like so when I was like younger, like where I was trying to like where I was in this band or whatever, and we're jamming out, and somebody had died in this garage that I used to live in this house, right? And we're just jamming out, and the session was over, then you know what I mean, and then we're just all chilling, and all of a sudden somebody was like walking up like with boots, like I'm talking like hammering boots, like a Bigfoot, like Jew, like, and you could hear the chains. And then I live in Southern California, so like part of my French, like I talk different, and I was like, hey, you got the strap, what's up? Like I was like, we got to get gangster on this, like, because I was like, what, who, what, like how, because it was heavy, it was like something humongous like was walking up on us, but it was like chain, you could hear the chains like and I was like, get ready. So all we had was like a chainsaw, and I was like, all right. On 1, 2, or 3 there was nothing out there though. Like I opened the door and I was like, and the thing that's crazy is like that's not the only story I got, but like I think it's just like like I said, there's like portals around where I live at or where I used to live at, and like that's what I think is going on like right now. I don't know what happened, but like there's a bunch of like things going on like in the internet right now where I'm just thinking that's what's going on, because it's like the interdimensional beings that are coming through, and they cause that, and we don't even understand it. But what I freaked out about that night was that entity, whatever it was, I don't know. It sounded humongous. It sounded like at least like a 9 foot type, like interdimensional being, with just like with chains though. I mean, it had chains on his boots, and it was walking real slow, and we're like all scared, like, oh, we didn't got no like ammunition to back ourselves up. We're like what is this? I don't know. I mean, have a bunch of other stories, but I mean, that's like the most, to me, that's scary because I was like, there was nothing there, and we all heard it. There's like five of us inside in the garage, and we went with, there was nothing there. I was like, okay, like what could, I mean, that was just insane because I was like, I'm scratching my head right now because I was like, I'm thinking back like, at that moment in time. I'm like, I was like, we're ready to like get down. Like we're thinking like, who would be doing that? Like, what type of prank would that be at that time? And we're just like all looking at ourselves like, what the hell? And there was nothing, just like silence. So, I mean, that freaked me out because I was just like, that had to have been either, I think it was a demon or something that was chained up. I mean, what do you think about that? I mean, for real.
Actually, last night we had a discussion about hearing entities walking around. I told one of my stories because I had an experience like that probably about 10, 14 years ago. So I've definitely experienced it myself. As far as what, it is, like explanations are never going to really be available for the paranormal. So I just leave it as, I don't know. I don't know what it is. But it's definitely something. I mean, the paranormal exists, but who knows what it is? Not me. But yeah, that is really spooky. And I know it can be unnerving when you hear something plain as day and then you don't see anything to go along with it. It's really freaky.
I mean, it just had weight on it. It was just like a slow walk. It was like a slow walk, and you could hear the chains. It was like, Jew. And we were like all like, what are we gonna do? Like what, like who would do that though? Like why would like somebody like walk up like that? You know what I mean? And plus you could hear the chains. So I was thinking to myself, I'm like, I don't know, it could have been an interdimensional, like, I don't know. Could have been a demon or whatever. It was scary though because it sounded like really heavy. Like it sounded like something that was like really tall, and the way it was walking, like we stopped, we all paused, and we're like looking at each other like, what the hell? You know what I mean? Like, who would do that though? Like, and why would they have chains on them? You know, the boots and all that. And we're just tripping out. We're like, I don't know. And that's, to me, that was really insane because like when we opened the door, there was nothing around, and it stopped.
Yeah, I once had a ghost in my house that had a Zippo lighter that he used to click open and shut. I have no idea why they, like you're saying with the chains. I don't know. Maybe it's projected consciousness. Maybe it's something bleeding through from an alternate reality. We'll never know. But yeah, it is pretty spooky.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just like we're like I think it's the ley lines of the planet. Like I think these beings come through because maybe sometimes they get lost. They don't know how to cross over, right, and they somehow they kind of like project, like they don't know where they're at, and they're just like walking around or whatever. That's the only thing I could conclude because like for me to like open the garage door because we're all ready, we're like okay, well, why would somebody walking, because it was walking really slow though. It was like June, like really slow, and I was like, what the heck is this? You know what I mean? And then everybody was like looking at each other like, oh shit, like you, who walks in chains? You see what I'm saying? So I was just like, what the heck? But I think it's just I think it's a ley lines, and I think the portals open up sometimes, and I think these entities come through and they don't know where they're at. So that's my conclusion. I just wanted to share that real quick. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, we appreciate you. Thanks for coming up.
All right, thank you.
Let's see here.
Sarah, before you bring someone up, I have another story from my area.
Okay.
Okay, so there was a lot of Indian tribes back in the day on Long Island, and there's a lake called Lake Ronkonkoma, and so apparently back in the day, when when the area started to get settled, there was Chief Ronkonkoma had a daughter, Princess Ronkonkoma, and she fell in love with one of the settlers. So she went to tell her father, "Hey, I love him. I want to be with him." And her father was like, "Nah, not having that." Right? So she was so distraught that she walked into the lake and she just kept going and she drowned in the lake. Now, ever since then, every couple of years, do you know that a young white male between the ages of 20 and 30 will drown in that lake? Like, I'm 45, so I remember a couple of instances hearing about a young
Hmm.
a male drowning in that lake. So, yeah, that's another one from my area.
That's interesting. Wow. Yeah, I like stories like that. I mean, not because they're morbid or whatever, but just because it's like there's so much mystery surrounding something like that. We have like Kentucky Lake here, which is on the western side of Kentucky,
Mhm.
and there are so many stories and so much lore, just legends and stuff about that kind
Yeah,
of
same
thing.
thing
And
here in
it's
Long
like,
Island and New York. Like, there's everyone hears New York, and you just automatically think of New York City. But New York is a big, huge state. Yeah, we got NYC, but you got Long Island east of NYC, and you got the whole state of New York north of NYC. So there's stories galore. Like, we have actually, is it is it Ogopogo? I think I'm not sure if that's the one, but we have a little Loch Ness monster cryptid up somewhere upstate New York in those Finger Lakes.
yeah, I'm familiar with that
Hmm.
actually. Not too familiar, but I am familiar with it. I've read
Yeah,
about it
we
before.
have one of those Nessies up upstate New York too. But yeah,
That's
New
cool.
York.
Actually, I lived in upstate New York for a little while in what was the name of the town? It was close to Monticello. I forgot the name of the town. Oh my god. Oh,
Albany.
crap. No, it was a little bitty town.
Hmm.
Damn. I'm getting old and forgetting things. I'm just
Same,
forgetting everything.
same.
Um, but I was a nanny in upstate New York for a while, and um, it was pretty cool. It was a really pretty place. It actually reminded me a lot of Eastern Kentucky,
Yeah,
except much bigger, much more open space, and but it looked so similar to a lot of places in Eastern Kentucky. It was really strange.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Because
but yeah,
once you go past the Bronx, that's where all the woods and the sticks are.
yeah, yeah. You actually have a lot of Bigfoot sightings up there, especially around. I
We
think I want to
do.
say like White Plains, I believe, if I
Uh,
recall
I
correctly.
don't remember it White Plains because that's kind of more like city-ish, but definitely upstate.
Hmm.
Definitely upstate in the
Yeah.
Adirondacks. Definitely. I'll have to look into that. I didn't know they were that close. Like, I know we have them really upstate.
Hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of squash sightings up there, which I think is
Yeah.
really interesting. You just, like you said, you don't really think of New York and then think of like spooky stuff like that, I guess.
And plus, we're like an old state, so of course we have history.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would say too, like, there's probably some really great ghost hunting opportunities, like even in the cities, like what would be so the Chelsea, I think. Is it the Chelsea? Um,
The hotel.
that's like a yeah, that's like a really old building in New York, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one would be really cool. I've heard stories, about that particular location.
Hmm.
But yeah, just with so much energy and activity and
And
so many
history.
people and
Hmm.
history, yeah, and all that stuff, it's like the perfect combination
Yeah.
for paranormal activity and stuff like that. So, um,
Who's in the box?
yeah, somebody get in the box and tell us a ghost story. Tell us an alien story. Tell us about Bigfoot. I see a lot of people all the time in the comments like, "Oh, I got a good Squatch story," and then they never come up.
No one, I see that too. So I'll look on their profile to see if they have 200 followers, and then I comment to them, "Hey, come up on live."
Yeah. Oh, okay. Get in the box. Get up here and tell us. We want to hear it.
Do we have someone?
Aggravated Progressive says, I have an experience.
Oh, come up, aggravated.
Yeah, I think I do remember you coming up before, but you can come up and tell it again if you want, because
Story.
there's a lot of different people here. So
I'm pretty sure you didn't hear my stories, aggravated, but go ahead.
let's see.
Yes, gay werewolf, get up here.
It seems like it's kind of a strange night here on TikTok. I don't know what's going on. Maybe is there like some astrological event happening and everybody is feeling a little weird? Hey, werewolf.
Well, if it isn't the Ghost Gang.
The Boo Crew, thank you.
The Boo Crew. All right. Yeah, so this one time I was on a road trip and I don't remember where like we were, but it was like some small town. I remember it felt like a cowboy town, sort of like the way the boardwalk was, and there are like these small shops. So I went into this gift shop and I think I was buying like a candy bar or something. I decided not to get like a souvenir, but I was gonna get a snack. And then it was pretty small. Like there's like one person in line in front of me, then it's me, one person behind me, and then there's these two people in the corner having a conversation. And then there's like the clerk, and there's like a couple people in the store, but that's the only one. Like those are the only people in like the room with me, this like lobby area. And the two people having the conversation, one of the guys is talking at like a very normal like volume, and like I can't really hear what he's saying, but I can just hear like murmur, like the polite murmur, whatever chatter that you would expect. But the other guy is like being really loud, like he's like shouting his entire conversation. So I don't really mind because I've been like, oh wow, whatever, this dude's loud. And then when the person in front of me is done and it's my turn to buy the like candy bar, the clerk is like, hi, how are you? And I'm like, hi there. And like I can't even like hear like anything we're saying because the guy's like talking so loud. And so I try to like raise my voice a little bit, but he's like not taking the hint at all. And so I turn around. I was very irritated. And then I was like, excuse me. I was like, I'm sorry, like to interrupt your conversation, but like I like can't even hear myself talk. And well, like I'm just trying to like, whatever. And the guy keeps talking. I go, excuse me, blah, blah, blah. And then he finally looks over and I was like, hi, I'm sorry. I just can't even hear like the conversation I'm having with like the clerk, and I'm standing way over here. So like, if you don't mind, can you just keep it down a little bit? And he goes, are you talking to me? And then I go, yes, you're the only one talking. And then he's like, oh, shoot. And then I was like, please, thank you. And then I turned back around and I was like, sorry about that. And then the clerk looks scared. He like is not making eye contact with me. He's looking down and looks very scared. And then he's like, oh, it tells me how much it is. And we do the exchange. And then I'm feeling kind of bad. Like, oh, did I like overreact? Or like, was I like rude or whatever? And I was going to like apologize to the guy. But then I turned back around and the two guys are gone. I was like, oh, where'd they go? And the clerk and the guy who was in line behind me goes, where did who go? I was like, those two people, the two guys were here having a conversation. And then they said, there was no one there. I was like, what do you mean? Like, who was I speaking to just now? And they're like, you were speaking to no one. There was no one else here but us. And then I was like, what? And then the clerk goes, wait a minute, hold on. My coworker loves stuff like this. Hang on. And then he calls his like coworker out. He's like, like Bob, whatever. And then Bob comes out. He's like, tell them what just happened. And then I told them what happened. They're like, oh, what did he look like? And I was like, well, like one of the guys, the guy who was loud, looked like Native American. He had like long hair, button-up shirt, and jeans. And they're like, oh, they didn't like know who like if that sounded like anyone familiar, but they're like, oh, okay, interesting. But what about the other guy? And I was like, I didn't get a good look at the other guy. And I was like, wait, there's no one in here. And then they're like, no. And I was like, so when I was talking, they're like, yeah, you were talking to no one. There's no one in here but us.
Oh wow.
So, yeah. There you go. It's not an alien story, but that's what I got.
Yeah, I've given up on the alien story for the night. I don't think we're gonna get any alien stories, but Wow, yeah, that's pretty spooky.
Yeah, and like, yeah. All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. See, somebody says that they are a paranormal magnet in the comments. Do you have 200 followers? Come up and tell us about your paranormal magnetism. Instead of animal magnetism, it's ghostly magnetism. Unfortunately, everybody has had demonic magnetism tonight so far, just about. So we're moving on past that. We wanna talk about some aliens and shit. But
saying that they're going to demolish Bobby Mackey's.
oh really?
Yeah, I was reading through the comments. They're saying that it's going to get demolished and moved.
Huh? That's crazy. Tully, have you heard about that? Was it?
Holly
Does
was the
Tully
one that's
know?
telling us about that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I know he was there not long ago. Um, wow, that sucks that they're gonna tear it down but I mean, at least they're gonna preserve it. Kind of sounds like.
The place, I was saying the place should just be demolished and the land cleansed. Like, that's what I think.
Oh, they already moved it. Yeah, I'm totally out of the loop with paranormal places. Like, I don't even know what's going on at this point. Oh, wow. You know what I always thought was funny about Bobby Mackey's is from what I read, and I think I even saw like some video clips and stuff, despite the fact that his wife even apparently had a lot of crazy experiences there, Bobby Mackey himself said that he didn't believe the place was haunted.
Did
So,
nothing ever happen to him? Because it's happened to plenty of other people.
yeah, that's what I wonder. I guess he never experienced anything there, and I saw a clip of him in an interview. I don't know when it was from. I mean, things could have changed, obviously, subsequent to the interview. But yeah, he seemed even just a smidge condescending about the paranormal claims, like he thought it was absurd. But lots of people think it's haunted. I don't know.
Well, he could probably be one of those people that just didn't have any experiences, you know? Maybe he just wasn't consciously open for any kind of paranormal activity. And
Yeah, and it's really strange when that happens too, because like you take a place like Bobby Mackey's, where everybody that I know that's been there, like they swear that there's tons of activity. So it's like, it's not a mildly active place; it's allegedly like a really super active place. Weird. Somebody said, or he had extreme experiences, and that's how he coped.
Matthew, you're probably right. Denial, denial, denial.
Colossal Claude. That I've never. Hang on, let me Google it. What is a colossal Claude? It's a new one on me. Well, apparently it's a drink. Um, oh, okay. Oregon's most mythical creature, or most famous mythical creature. Oh, it's like a sea monster. That's kind of cool.
Ooh, can we get
You,
Colton up here? He's got 187 followers. And there's about 90 in here. If everyone could just follow him so he can come up and do audio and tell us the story.
yeah. That would be great. 13 followers away from telling us. Absolutely. You guys follow it so we can get him up here. Oh my god, it's finally happening. You know how I'm always asking for a sea monster story?
Yeah,
I mean, technically, like Loch Ness.
Stories.
I'm going to message Chris and be like, haha, told you.
Okay, he's up to 191. Come on, guys. Just a couple more. We can get him up here to talk about this cryptid. Everyone follow Colton, please. He's almost up to 200.
Thank you for the heart. Oh, I hope we can get in there so we can hear the story.
192, guys. Come on, we could do this.
Colton, where are you at? Comment so everybody can see you.
Colton, what you said you're from Ohio? Ohio is a very big hotspot for squatches.
Oregon. Yeah.
He's from Oregon?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Oregon too. All right, let's see what he's up to. Come on, guys, 6 more followers. 6 more followers so we can get Sarah a cryptid story.
I don't know if they took away the option to pin comments. It was, yeah, I think it's gone. I don't think you can pin a comment anymore in a live. Shows 304. Awesome. Let's hope those live privileges kick in quick.
The 304 is how many he's following. He has 106
okay.
followers, so he needs 4
Yeah.
more people. 4 more people he can come and tell his story. Come on, guys, 4 more people. And while we're waiting, I'm going to give Sarah a gift.
Thank you. Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you.
My favorite show. All right, what is Colton up to? Because I want to hear this story, too, about Colossal Claude. $197. 3 more people.
I'm still trying to see if I have the option to pin the comment so that everybody can see him. Keep commenting, Colton, so that everybody knows where to follow you at.
Is Colossal Claude a Squatch or a Nessie type creature, Colton?
It looks like it's a sea monster type creature because I googled it, and it's let's see.
All right, he's up to 200. Get him up here.
Sweet.
He's up to 200. Get him up here. Colton, do you see the multi-guest button by your comment box? Press on that. So Sarah can bring you up here. You can tell us your story. Thank you for following everybody. Just follow everybody in here. Everyone follow each other so we can all tell our stories.
Yeah, there you go.
Is he up in the box?
Not yet. I can't invite him yet either. So sometimes it takes a couple minutes for the live thing to kick in. Thank you, Tully. Yeah, you may have to actually restart the app. Unfortunately, sometimes you have to close it and come back or whatever. So funny because Chris always teases me when I'm like, we need a Loch Ness monster story. And he's like, it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. It's like, well, guess what, Chris? When you're not here, it happens. So I sent him a message on Instagram to tease him a little bit. It's like, I told you.
All right, he's going to come.
Yeah, awesome. Just waiting. In the meantime, guys, tap the screen, send some hearts. More hearts means more people, means more spooky stories.
Guys, can we get Sarah up to 35K likes, please? Help the algorithm get this going.
I think I can do it too. Can I? Oh my god, I can. Holy cow, I can tap my own screen. I never knew this. Oh my god. This is cool. I'm gonna do this forever now. Send myself likes. All right, Colton, do you see like a join or request or maybe a little peekaboo person? Any of those types of buttons should bring you up into the guest box. All right.
Hey, Colton.
Hey.
Hello?
Thanks for coming.
All
We're
right.
so glad you're here. We've been dying for like a sea monster story, so you're going to be our first one.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so about this colossal cloud story. So okay, so I was on a fishing trip with a buddy down at the Columbia River, and it was about 3:14 in the morning, and we were just getting everything all ready. The boat was getting all set. We went to our spot. I was mainly a spotter, making sure that boat patrol that just doesn't catch us or anything. And we hardly caught anything from there. But the weirdest thing was while we were bringing in our net, it kind of just felt like it was stuck. And at first we just thought to ourselves that it was just caught, like the line was just caught. So we're like, all right, well, let's see how much caught it was. So all of them, so it was like about 3 guys. We literally pulled it up and it wasn't coming up. And so so the guy, our third guy, was telling us we need to cut this line. But he said something was weird about this line. This line just kept on like pulling down. Like it was like literally like pulling down. Like our boat felt like it was just about to tip right over. And so we panicked. I grabbed the knife and I cut the lines. And so we didn't know what it was, but all we had was like a sturgeon. So we just decided to get going. And right behind, as I noticed as we were going back to our spot, I noticed that there's these ripples right behind us, and these ripples were like really extremely big. And I wasn't like I was thinking to myself, okay, maybe it was like an orca or a sea lion that's just right behind us, and so I told him, hey, stop the boat, stop the boat. And as he did stop the boat, it was I heard, and we heard this too, and it really freaked us out on the boat. Was we heard this really loud noise, and to us it sounded like almost like a whale, like a really huge kind of whale. And right after we cut the boat, and I'm not kidding anybody. I'm not kidding anybody on this. Is he literally went past us while he was under the water, and you can you just really feel like the noise. You can even feel it just on your skin, just like it's like it was vibrating, like really vibrating. So it was kind of like almost like a numbing feeling. And so as it passed by, the noise went from loud and it started to get quiet. And all of us was really so scared we couldn't say not a single word. None of us could ever say anything. But just when we were just sitting there for a good 10 minutes, just frozen completely, my crew leader found something outside, and he's seen it just right out in the distance. And he tells me it looked like a really long tail. And this tail just kind of this is what he described to me, was that this really long tail came right out of the water, and it sounded like a whip really coming and going like right into the water, and it just whips really hard, and he said he can hear it. I didn't hear nothing because I was like just too frozen, and I was trying to process what was going on, but he swore, he said he's seen a tail whip the water, and then it just went right back in. And then immediately he just turned on the boat, and we just went right back into the shores. And to this just to this day, we swear that we try to convince ourselves it was either like this like it was just like a whale, or just some kind of orca or something that was just kind of thought we were like prey or something. But no, this was like really loud. Like, oh, how do I say it? It's like a really loud speaker. It like that. But and the only thing that really scared us a lot was just how loud it was.
Wow, that's insane. So the
But
sound that you're talking about, is it was the sound actually like the noise that the creature was making, or was it the speed of it going through the water?
it was like a almost like a roar, like kind of like that. But the ripples and stuff on our boats, oh man, it was like shaking back and forth. It was like we were in the ocean, like we were just fighting waves.
Wow, that's
But it was just
terrifying.
really it was just all about that, like, oh, I'm sorry. It's just all about, it was just that noise that really shook us.
Yeah, my God, I'd say so. I'm terrified of water. I don't go near boats, so I have very limited knowledge of like what it's like to go out on, deep water or whatever. But yeah, that would have been way too much for me. Holy cow.
Oh yeah, and that was literally my first time ever, and I believe, let's see, the day after that, um, I went into town, and I was asking the locals if they heard of such a creature, and oh man, I was literally getting responses left and right. I'm sorry if I'm getting raspy in my voice. Just sometimes talking about this is kind of just jogging up my memory, and it's kind of one of those scary moments kind of things. So I'm sorry if my voice is kind of raspy.
Yeah, that's understandable. Definitely. So you said that
But
they kind of
anyways,
confirmed what you thought. Had you ever heard of Colossal Claude before?
no, this was actually my first. It was actually my first encounter, which means for me, yeah, it was my first time ever hearing about it. But when I talked to the locals, everyone, yeah, that lived down at the Columbia River, told me the exact same story about the sound that I heard, and they said they hear it every night too. And what else? They also tell me too that they also see, I guess it's a male, but he pops his head out they say about every month or so, and just goes right back into the water, as they describe it, that he looks like has like a long 18-foot neck, with a head of a giraffe, and with two fins, and a 20 foot long tail. Well, but yeah, I also looked it up myself as I after that, after the locals told me everything, I looked it up also. And ever since then, I kind of been researching it myself.
Have you ever gone back out to see if you could find it again?
Um, Not really. I lost connections with the the fishermen that used to work with. Cause then right after that encounter, they were kind of just the same. They were just kind of like, no, we don't want to be around the water. They just want to rather forget. But and every time I drive by the Columbia River, I kind of just keep my eyes out just in case to see anything. But every time I used to drive by the Columbia River, I would just try to look for giant ripples, mainly.
Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely personally want to go back and check it out, but I don't know. As far as getting on a boat, I definitely can handle that, especially knowing if there's a monster, out there like a sea monster. Wow, that is so crazy. We've been wanting a story like this on here for so long, and your very first one with a sea creature story. So very exciting. You'll have to let us know if you ever end up going back or anything and you have any type of experience. You'll have to keep us updated to let us know if you see it again or if you see any details that, might indicate that it's active. Uh, Very cool story.
Thank you. And if you guys do want any more stories from here in Oregon, I also got I've also encountered Bigfoot, spirits, and right now I'm kind of just doing studies on angels and demons.
Yeah, hey, if you got a Bigfoot story, if you feel like sharing it, we would definitely love to hear that one as well.
Yeah, sure I can give you one. Let's see. I was about 26 years old when met met my first Bigfoot. I was on a hunting trip with my uncle, and he always went to this favorite spot on the near these hills where we always used to kind of just trap trap deer and elk. And then today, this spot was kind of unusual because this was my first time ever going to this spot, and he only introduced it to me like once, and so it it was it would kind of be hard to describe, but there's a hill, there was a hill, and it had a little kind of like nothing. It was just pretty much an open field. All it had was just this whole row of like a whole circle of trees, and that was it. And I was going down heading towards this tree line, and then all of a sudden, right behind me, I heard this whoop whoop right behind me. I look behind me and there's nobody there. And so my uncle kind of looked around the hills a little bit longer than I did, and he kind of just tapped me on my shoulder, and he tells me, "Hey, we got to keep moving." He kind of had this panic in his voice, like, but it had that panic, like he knew what he was doing, but he was worried about me kind of situation. So so he kind of just pointed at the circle of trees, and so we kind of just slowly walk over. All of a sudden, I can just literally hear this behind me. All I hear is doom, 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 doom. Big footsteps. And I thought to myself, okay, maybe it's just a bear, and maybe this bear will go away. But I didn't. The only thing I knew about bears is that bears don't really. I thought bears were not that much quiet. They could just literally make a lot of noise. But this one was just do, 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 and it just kept getting closer and closer. Only in about 30 seconds later, I heard another one, do, do, do. Now I'm hearing about two of them, about two footsteps in. And as we were going right in the tree line, I look right behind me, and what it looked like to me, it was like two shadows. They were going on each opposite end of the circle of trees. And immediately my uncle kind of panicked because all he told me was this while we were in the trees was he's never had encounter like this before. They usually just get curious and just move along. But these two are really curious. What should we do? And he's looking at me really frozen and really, really big-eyed. And so I kind of think to myself, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to just stand up, keep looking forward, and we're just going to walk slowly. Because if we walk slowly, they're just going to see us as, curious and human beings. But if we just moved really fast, they could just see us as a threat. And I just said that. I was freaking out myself. I didn't know what to do. So I just told him just that. And so he just shook his head. He agreed. And just to clarify too, we had rifles. I had a bolt action, and he had a Winchester's, but we did not fire because he told me once that he did try to shoot them, but nothing works. But anyways, so we were walking slowly, and as we were walking really slowly, I looked to my left and I can see this shadow, and this shadow looked like a really tall person, and he was just doing really slowly creeping. And the way he looked, he was like really crouched down, like he was just bent over on, like he's just, like he's low, like lowered on the floor. And I looked to the right, there's another one, but he's on all twos, and he's just kind of swaying back and forth. And so we walked forward and we walked forward. And nothing went on for a while, and not until I heard two of them go right into the tree lines. And they went right in too. You can hear the branches really snapping, just coming right in. And I can feel them because the hairs on all over my body was standing up. I could just feel them right behind me. And all of a sudden, I cannot. I swear to you, one tugged me on my coat really hard. I almost flew back. And but all of a sudden, all I heard was this. And I'll try to mimic this as best as I can, but it sounded really weird. It was like that, like it was like they were talking. And so as they were, we walked right out safely, and about another 5 seconds later, I got tugged again. But this time I looked back, and I could see literally two faces. One looked like he was like a full-on like a bee. Like he looked like a really like a baboon, but with a mix of a human's face. And he had this angry, fanged look with black eyes. And he's just looking at me and he's just like hissing away, and all I can hear is shh, shh. And the other one, he looked a little more human. He kind of had like this ape-like feature, but his eyes were like normal. Like his eyes were just plain normal, like any normal human beings. And he looks at the other one and he's just going, and then all of a sudden, I heard this right in the distance, right after they were fighting. They were all I heard is, "Woo." And all of a sudden, I heard rustling all around, and then hear it, and then just in the distance, you can just do 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 do. All the way up the hill, you could just hear him just going off. And so we kind of just calmly walked all the way down. And so later on, me and my uncle, we just kind of just laughed it off. And he asked me, well, this was your first experience being around Bigfoot. How do you feel? I looked at him, I go, honestly, not what I expected. And he looked at me and he goes, what do you mean? It's just the faces is just not, it's just something wasn't right. Like like everything about like Bigfoot, about the pictures and everything, I always believe that people are getting it right, but I'm starting to believe that there's two different species of Bigfoots, because the one with the ape face, the one that had the black eyes, he kind of looked like an angry human, but his was just more animal feature than his was human. But the other one just looked like he was just like a mix of half human, half ape, almost like from the movie Planet of the Apes, almost like them. That's the only thing I could describe about that one, is that it looks similar to like that. And that's was my first encounter with Bigfoot.
Wow,
Well,
that's
two of them,
that's
and it turned out they were younglings.
that's amazing. I'm wondering if you're familiar at all with the Sierra Sound recordings. Have you ever heard of the Sierra Sounds
Uh,
by any chance?
I have not.
So, this guy named Ron Moorhead captured what he claims is Bigfoot audio. And one of the things I always like to ask people who have heard vocalizations from Bigfoot is if they're familiar with the Sierra sounds and if it sounded anything like what he captured. You should definitely check those out. You should be able to find it pretty easily if you search for Ron Moorhead Sierra sounds. I think it comes up. It's like the top result. Check those out and kind of compare it, because I'd be interested to know if that's kind of what you heard as well. Um, but yeah, that's pretty amazing to see two at once. And it seemed like they weren't really afraid of you either. It's kind of like they maybe were checking you out to see what you were. Did you kind of get that feeling?
Well, with the first one kind of tugging on my coat, I was just kind of more of afraid, because the way that one was tugging me, it just felt like I was gonna fly straight back. Like I was just gonna just go right and fly right back where he was gonna throw me, which I knew was gonna feel like it was gonna be pretty far, because I'm not kidding, it almost felt like my coat was gonna come off.
Yeah, I'd say they are very powerful creatures. I had a Bigfoot sighting myself one time, and the size of the thing that I saw was what really stood out to me. Was just how enormous this thing was, especially when compared to like even a large human. This thing was just like animalistically big. So yeah, I'd say they probably could jerk you right off of your feet pretty easily.
Yeah, but I was really honestly glad that the other one did what it did, because I kind of felt like that my life was really going to be in danger, or I was going to wind up, being on a missing persons poster because I'm not here.
Yeah. Wow, that is a
But
pretty amazing encounter that you had there with both stories, actually.
yeah, well, I got some of my Bigfoot facts also from my uncle, God rest his soul. Uh, he would always, and he always gave me stories because he was a really good and known hunter, and he used to always give me these stories of Bigfoot encounters. And I used to ask him once, what was the tallest Bigfoot you have ever seen? And he really looked at me. He gave me this really hysterical kind of smile, and he showed me this drawing that he made. And when I seen the drawing, I seen that it was Bigfoot right next to a tree. And I just kind of just scratched my head, and I asked him, how tall is this? And he looks at me, and he just gives me another hysterical smile, and he goes, that one is over 15 feet tall. And I looked at him really with, real shock in my eyes to hear that. And he's seen a Bigfoot, and he drew it, how tall it was. And he said, in case if anybody didn't believe him. And I did ask him, I had asked him so many times if he really seen it. And he goes, yeah, I'm not kidding. I've seen a Bigfoot over 15 feet tall. And I was really shaking my head. I was like, no, there is no way. And he goes, okay, if you don't believe me. So he goes out, and he takes me to the tree to where he seen it. And he points up, and I see that there's a missing branch. And I looked at it, and I I literally was in shock because my uncle said, "Yep, that's how tall he literally was compared to this tree." And I asked him for, I don't know why, but I asked him for measuring tape. And we climbed up the tree, and he actually was kind of off about, I would say about 3 more inches. It was actually 18 feet tall. And I was like, I was really just, I was just really in disbelief at first. But then I really couldn't get any sleep knowing that, that he had something. And just then I thought things couldn't get any weirder. Um, I heard, I heard footsteps all around his house, about 3 or 4 of them, and they were really huge. You like how someone could be like stomping, like if someone's throwing a tantrum and you can hear their stomps. It was like that. You can just hear their stomps. And and I was just kind of like laying in bed, and I was just this was a nighttime when this happened. There was just all over. There was just nothing but footsteps, and they were huge. And as the morning after, when the morning after when after right afterwards, I kind of woke up and I saw these pair of big red eyes. And these eyes were not normal eyes. They were they were almost as big as my knuckles.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, that's most of my recent Bigfoot ones.
Yeah, well, we really appreciate you. These were great stories. Probably the best we've had tonight, actually.
Wait, before Colton goes, Colton, did you say you had a ghost story?
Oh yeah.
Do tell.
Okay. Well, I think back when I was about 15 years old, I was kind of like this little rebellious kind of guy, and I had my cousin with me, and we were at this abandoned house, and this abandoned house had a history, and it was kind of mainly like a party house, slash murder house, because then there was always reports of death in that home. So they had to condemn it. But before they condemned it, me and my cousin, we decided to go inside. And it was kind of like a 2-story old house. We didn't think anything of it. It was a pretty big 2-story house. Lot of clutter. There was way too much. But I was really kind of curious on this basement, because this basement had this really bad vibe. Like it was so dark, so cold, almost like you opened up the freezer on a hot day and it just cools you right off instantly, kind of thing. And I was thinking to myself, all right, I gotta definitely set up a camera or something, because I can really feel it off of here. And so I did. I set up a camera right in front of the basement door. And I think let's see, only about a half an hour right after that, I looked all over my footage. I didn't catch nothing at first, but then right after the 18-minute mark, I noticed there was somebody moving in there, in that one basement room, and it was like a shadow, and you can just see them kind of just standing there, and they're just kind of like swaying really back and forth, from like side to side, and they would switch from front to back. They would just kind of switch from that, and then you go side to side, and my cousin was just really, bursting out in excitement. He goes, "Oh, this is our first ghost. I can't believe this. What else are we gonna catch after this?" And he was just hitting me up with questions, and I'm like, okay, let's set up the camera and try again and see what we catch next. So a little bit right after that, I set up the camera, and then all of a sudden I heard a voice right in the corner of the basement, and I heard it say, "What you doing?" And I looked, and I accidentally dropped my camera. And then then I just just burst out in cuss words and everything. And I looked, and there was nobody in that corner. Literally nobody was there. And I just heard that just plain as day, just right out of nowhere. And it sounded like it was an 8-year-old boy, because the way it sounded just popped up to me like, "Hey, what you doing?" And then just right after that, I looked around with my camera just to see if I would catch something. And right on the basement stairs, I could see a little face. and this little face, and it's looking at me, and I'm kind of shaking with my camera a bit. And so I asked only one question, and I couldn't think of anything else, so I only asked it this: are you the ghost that died here recently? And his face kind of just disappeared. And then my cousin just comes walking down the stairs, and he's asking me, what are you doing pointing the camera at the stairs? And he's got this like confused look on his face. And I go, dude, I've been down here this entire time. Where were you? And he looks at me, and he's
Uh-oh, I think we lost
up the
him.
stairs. And we go right into the kitchen. Nobody's there. And so we looked all around. There was nobody there. We looked all around outside to see if we can catch somebody, hopping the fence and, running or trying to run off and say, ha ha, we got you. But no, it did not. And so,
Hey, you're off. Oh, you're off the app. Are you
sorry.
there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Oh, okay. Um, and so we could not find anyone, and we were really freaking out. And my first thought was, let's go back in the house and review our footage. And his idea was, no, let's go home, review the footage, and maybe come back. And I was kind of giving him that, that look like, just, we can do this. We're two grown men. We can do this. And he's like, no, we're in our teens, not yet grown. Anyways, we go right back into the house. Something was not right. When I looked all around the house, everything was all cluttered. Everything was in a mess. There was glass everywhere. Wood was shattered everywhere. But then when we went right back into the house, and as my cousin was just talking to me, I looked all around the house and I noticed it was clean. Like all the little boards, all the glass, all of it. It was all cleaned up. And it kind of just made me want to stop our conversation, because then I tapped him on the shoulder and I told him, hey, have you noticed that this place is spotless? And he looks around. He didn't notice it at first. He's like, why, was it like this when we came in? No, it wasn't. And so we looked all over the footage, and I showed him down in the basement, and even before that, I showed him the footage when we came right in the house. Everything was all garbage, all a mess, all everywhere. And so when he did look around, he kind of started shaking. Like, we were starting to have this really bad feeling. And then all of a sudden, I walked right past where the basement stairs was, and I seen this shadow, this person in a hoodie, in a black hoodie. He walks down the stairs. I jumped right back, and then I quickly grabbed my camera, and I ran all the way down to the basement, and I looked all around, and I was yelling around, "Who is there? Show yourself! Show yourself! or I'll call the cops." And so I look in the dark room, and I hear a voice, come here, come here. And then right after that, I kind of freaked out because this part was really the most scariest one. And I'm not kidding. He looked like a zombie when he came out of that room. He walked right out of that room, and he looked like a zombie, and he looked at me, he goes, come here. I screamed at the top. I ran all the way up, and I told my cousin, we need to go now. We need to leave. And he asks why? Why do we need to leave? And next thing you know, out of nowhere, all this clutter and all this glass fell on top of us. Everything like it was like a little, like it was kind of like a trash shower. Like everything just fell right on top of us. And so both of us were just screaming, we were just screaming at the top of our lungs, and we just raced right out of there, and we just forgot our stuff, and we ran right off. And I ran all the way into back to my house, and my cousin ran all the way back to his. And we never went to that house ever again until a week later. We got a call from the police asking to come and get our stuff. And so I went right down there with my mom, and she was getting mad at me because I went to an abandoned place, and she thought I went all by myself, everything else. And then this one officer guy, I always can remember him. His name was, I'm just gonna go by his name, first name Brian. And he pulls me to the side, and he goes, your camera, were you guys like making a documentary or something in this house? And I said, no, we're just being amateur paranormal investigators. Oh, I see. Well, just to let you know, I went over your camera, and you might want to check out something. And so he takes me to his squad car, and he asked me to sit in the passenger side. And oh my God, this part really freaks me out because I could still remember this. He played the footage of the video of right after we left. And right after we left, oh God, a person picked up our camera, looked at himself in the camera, and he took the camera to the basement, set it up in in that black door of the basement, walked right into it, and never came out. The whole footage was I guess looked like it was about him going inside that one room and down in the basement, and he walked right into it and never went out. And so the police did what do you do? What do you call those? Facial recognitions. And this guy that filmed himself on camera was the same age that I was. And they said that boy died of an unknown circumstance. But what his family told the police was I guess the kid's little brother was with him, And apparently, according to the family, to that little boy, was he said something pushed his older brother down the basement stairs, and his brother broke his neck and died down in the basement. And they said his spirit was kind of lingering there. um and so but it was just so gross to see that, because the and I don't have the video. It was on an old phone, an old track phone, and I wish I would have it to show it to you guys. I really do. But
Yeah, that sounds like a hell of a night.
but the scariest thing that will always freak me out is just how a spirit was able to pick up a camera, look at itself right in the face, and just was able to just, do all of that. Just was able to take, a piece of technology, take it down to the basement, and just, it was almost as if it was showing, what what spirits do. Like almost as if he was like showing us what they do what they do once we pass on. And the way, the look on his face when I seen it, okay, it was like this. He had a pale face. He had black lines going all over his face. His eyes were literally black. Like he had no eyes. Like no pupils, no nothing. He had literally nothing. And the clothes that he was wearing was just, how do you say, it was just beaten up and torn and everything. But the only thing that really freaked me out is that he looked back at the camera before he went into that room. And when he walked into that room, he wasn't never seen again. He, like, through the rest of that footage, it just was sitting there. And at the end of the footage, all we could hear was the officers going down to the basement and finding my stuff.
Wow, that is intense and damn.
Wow, thank you for sharing, Colton. Their stories were amazing. Sarah, I have a question real quick. What time are you going till? 2 o'clock?
Yeah, we'll probably call it at around 2.
Okay. There's two people in the chat who had stories, Molly Shepard and Raven Rex. Molly was first. Molly, are you still in the chat? Okay, I don't see her.
Yeah, we'll try her and see if she loads, and then if not, we'll move on to the next one. Well,
Rick had
we
a
Colton,
story
we
about.
really appreciate you coming up. These have been terrific stories. We really appreciate it. Hopefully, you'll stick around. We're here every Sunday and Monday night telling stories. So, if you ever have any others that you want to come up and talk about, definitely tune in and join the stream with us. But thank you so much for coming up.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was really nice to give you guys my full experience. And yes, my stories, yes, I have lived them. Just to let everybody know.
Absolutely, we really appreciate it, and you have a good night.
You too.
Hey, I see Matthew Bortles in the comments. I'm so glad you made it. I'm going to message you back on Instagram probably after the live. All right, let's see if we can get Molly up here.
Molly
Was it
Shepard, are
Molly?
you in here?
Looks like she's not in the box.
Okay. Molly, are you in the chat?
Are you with us, Molly?
Give us a sign of your presence if you're here. I'm gonna go grab my cup of coffee. I made another one and then I ran from the Keurig because it makes fart noises and I didn't want you guys to think it was me. I'll be right back.
All right.
You can go ahead and bring up a guest if you want.
Molly might
It's
have
her.
said goodnight. Raven was next, and Raven has a story about mermaids, sirens. And I'm
Ooh.
definitely looking forward to hearing that one. Chris, you're gonna have to help me out here because I'm new to this. Are you
Uh-huh.
able to bring someone up?
Yeah, who is it?
Raven Rex?
Yeah, hold on. Let me there we go. Hello.
Raven, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Raven, can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, we hear you. Please tell us your story.
Hi, I'm very shy, but bear with me. I've met Sarah before. She actually hooked me up with a dogman guy because I know werewolves in my town, I believe. But anyways, I have grandparents that live in the West Key. Um, I go out there every now and then during the summertime. I haven't gone in a couple years since the pandemic, but there's a couple older ladies that we know as the Triton sisters. And the first time I've seen them, I was scuba diving. It was late at night. That's when all the night sea creatures come out, little crabs and stuff like that. And I was hunting for shells and stuff. And I saw a couple of old ladies. They were wearing mermaid tails, I thought at first. And they come up on shore trying to struggle out of these mermaid tails. And after a while, I thought, what's going on with these tails? They're not coming off properly. And the more I watched, I noticed these tails were turning into their legs. And Lodi started laughing and walked on shore butt ass naked. Sorry, my language. And I thought nothing of it. I'm like, that was kind of odd. Where did the tails go? Like, maybe I was seeing things. Maybe they're just skinny dipping old ladies. So the next day, I saw pretty looking girls. These girls looked like models. Naked, heading early in the morning, heading back into the water. And the way they were walking, it's like the water didn't even bug them. And they just totally walked into the water and vanished. And I thought that was weird. So I finally tell my grandparents about it. And she's like, my grandparents looked at me and they're like, oh, you've seen the Triton sisters. I'm like, who are the Triton sisters? And my parents said I guess they're ghost story around here or something like that, but my grandparents believe they're the local mermaids that come on shore, get what they need on land, become younger, I guess, every full moon, and go back in the water.
Holy cow, that's our very first mermaid story. That's our very first one. And I remember you, by the way, and you said that I hooked you up with a dog man expert. Did you
Yes,
actually
you
get a hold of
did.
somebody? Was it NADP
Yes,
or?
he emailed me back. He's actually really curious to hear about my story because the Wolf Creek, I live in a town that has a popular creek called Wolf Creek, and there's a bunch of mining stuff going on in there that's been shutting down, and people have been finding weird dead animal carcasses. And I've actually I went camping out there, and me and my buddies went to a mine shaft, and we on a full moon, and we saw that 7 foot tall, we thought Bigfoot werewolf. Do you remember me now?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I definitely remember you.
Yeah, and um, I've talking to more people about it. There's actually a boys group home that's out there, and there's a crazy old lady that thinks that's actually a group home for younger werewolves. And kids
Wow.
that got bitten or attacked by werewolves, she believes that's a sanctuary for them, and she's been talking about it nonstop.
Wow. That's so interesting and weird. And I've never heard anything like that before. That's crazy.
And it's funny because I know a couple of younger homeless kids that said they lived in that group home, and those kids go missing and they disappear for weeks on end and come back into town.
Huh.
So I'm wondering if they're like, I don't know.
Yeah, I would be curious about that too. Maybe do some poking around and asking people
I've been
questions or
poking around.
something.
I did post a video about the animal stuff that I found down there, but of course TikTok's guidelines, I can't post dead animals like that.
Yeah, yeah, you got to keep it kind of PG-13 on TikTok for sure.
No, I don't
Well,
think the kids
I'm
are
glad
being
to hear that
trafficked.
you. What is it?
Oh, someone said that they think the kids are being trafficked. Because I've known boys that become homeless out of that group home. They leave the group home and they're just crazy homeless kids now.
Well, I'm glad to hear you got a hold of somebody like a better
Yeah, he
source
emailed
of
me
info.
back, and I've emailed him, and he said he'll get hold of me about that. But yep,
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Well, thank you for coming up, and it's good to see you again.
yeah,
And I hope you are doing
yeah.
well. And always
I'm
good
doing
seeing you
great.
in the comments. Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, I love meeting these people in here. I want to hear aliens tonight, people.
I know
Need
we're
some
still
aliens.
hoping for an alien story.
All right, have a good night.
You too. Anybody know who was next? Was it because we got a bunch of people? Anybody know? I think maybe it was Ali, right?
I'm not too sure.
Okay, I'll just start at the top of the list. We'll get Ali up here.
Hey,
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 Ali.
I got an update. It's been a
I was
day.
hoping that you did. Yeah.
Remember how I said that I was gonna trigger some past trauma? Well, I did, and well, uh, if y'all were here yesterday, this is in regards to my story when I was 19 in Austin near Lake Travis, and we possibly had a devil visit at the door, um, or a fallen angel, or what have you. So I did all. Oh, recap. Okay, okay, all right. Well, recap to the story. I was 19. This was May 2nd, 2011. Around like 12 years ago. And it was a new moon, but it was like finals week, and we were done with our finals, like three or four of us. We finished early. So finals week was going on. We escaped to my friend Luciana's aunt's little lake house, and just to chill, party it up, before the semester fully ends. Friends were coming, and what happened was, it began to storm and rain, and us being 19, 20-year olds, we were college kids. We were drinking, partying, maybe had some herbs and plenty of food, like we went out to eat and stuff like that. So all the fun stuff, we were having a little party, and the storm just kept getting worse. So of course we didn't think anything of it. Lights were good. What happened was, we heard, um it was like past midnight, I would say. um Night is still young for us. We heard three loud knocks, like like thump, 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 like slowly like that, and probably shaking the door at the front door. And same thing happened a few times. It's Lucy's place. My friend Lucy, she went up there to check it out and ask who it is. And the answer to the doors were kind of very otherworldly. They had a very uh like, it was just strange. And yeah, I did. Cat Mama, I did. Yeah, but I guess some people want me to reiterate, so let me catch them up. So fast forward, um, Lucy the idiot, she kind of opened the door. I told her not to. She opened the door, and there was like a door lock, the chain on it, to where you don't have to like leave it all the way open. Um, so there was like that door lock chain. She opened it. There was a tall guy in a very old cowboy hat, I would say, trench coat, very tall, cowboy boots with the spurs on them. It looked all very old, clean, mind you, style old, like in the old western or something, and so on and so forth. Couldn't see the guy's face, long hair, and then everything was just, the cap covered the eyes. So the guy was asking for refreshment. We asked who he was, and the guy said in a deep voice, "You know who I am." I'm like, "Lucy, who is this guy? A neighbor?" So on and so forth. So yeah, um, on and on. We didn't know who he was, but we asked, "Hey, do you want help? Like, what's going on? Are you one of the neighbors? Something going on?" Weird things happened behind him. Lights were flickering off here and there, outside lights, and the houses like around, no lights. Everything shut down. We had some lights, and we asked, "What did you need? Do you need help?" And the guy asked for food. He asked, like, "Can you spare something to eat? I'm hungry." Weird, right? This is Austin. This is a city area. Like, what the hell? Um, you're like drenched. It's raining outside. Your car isn't stuck. Anyways, so we just like were arguing amongst ourselves. There was three of us at the time that were conscious. And I was like, okay, just give him some food and let him go. So we got a Walmart bag, threw some things in there, and a bottle of water, and I think I don't know if there was a beer in there or not. Maybe. Well, we just gave it, or maybe it was a wine bottle. I don't know. And they were handing it off, and I handed it off to the guy, right? My stupid ass. I handed it off to the guy. And I tried not to, like, I try to be careful to where he can just hold the bag. So, so all in all, the guy got the bag, and he was like, questioning me as like, "You would offer aid to me?" And I'm like, "Yes." No, we did not invite him in. We did not at all invite him in. And at all. I think if the door was fully open, I think he'd walk in. But no, we did not remove those, chain locks. Um, he was like, I was like, "Yeah, you asked. Hope you take care, man, you know?" And so he was like, he walked a few steps off the porch. He turns around. He says, "Your generosity will be remembered." Yes, I did see his eyes that were black. Remember, like, oh yeah, he actually pulled up the cap, like he looked up a little bit, because when he took a step down, and yes, his eyes were black in the middle, but and the iris where you see white, because I had light on my end from the inside where you see white, there was actually a glow to it. It was like a very golden orangish glow to it, because that's how you can tell it. Like, his eyes were glowing. So he walked off, he kept going. Again, lightning struck 3 times. One time, first time lightning struck, he asked, he told me my generosity will be remembered. He walked further off, lightning struck again. That's when all lights went out, including ours. He looked again, he turned around, and lightning struck the second time at that time, and that wasn't the guy in the trench coat no more. It turned into, like, it just flashed. It was a guy with 2 golden eyes in a hooded, long hooded dress or something. And all I saw was, you know what? I don't remember or recall seeing the bag in his hand. All I did was, he waved, like, how he was like saying, "See you later," kind of a thing. And me and the 2 others were just, me, Jordan, and Lucy were just staring at him. And I'm like, oh. And then lightning struck a third time, boom, he was gone. And then about maybe 20 seconds later, all the lights came back on. So, next morning, Lucy's aunt came, pick us up. We kind of told her about it, and mind you, on the side note, there was a horseshoe that was very specific. It was a nickel, I think, a horseshoe or something like that, and it had the very like italicized words "lucky" on it, and that was right above the door on the inside. So this is gonna come into the story in a bit. What happened was the next morning we were like, we just wanted to get out. Like we were all hungover. It was around afternoon and the storm subsided. It was quite sunny, and I hate this in Texas. It's always like this. Last night, like all day, it was raining, it was storming, everything's drenched, and now all of a sudden the sun's out. It's like 1 p.m. Like what the hell? Anyways, it's nasty. So anyways, we were packing up the car, and I was riding. Me, Jordan, we're gonna go back with Lucy. The other friends kind of woke up and they went off to another house. They cleaned up and everything. Oh no, they didn't, because I remember Luciana's cousin was still doing finals, so he was using the lake house. So yeah, some of them just stayed behind. So we three were packing up the car. We were gonna go back home to Houston, and I turn around and I see where the guy was standing. Two, like, I expected to see boot marks, like like cowboy boots somewhere. I saw two big cow hooves. Two, not four, two, like cow footprints. Mind you, we don't live near a ranch. These are all like lake houses. So cow footprints, very big, and they were all like the cow was standing in front of the door. It was just like that. I looked at it, and then yeah, hooves, and then I say cow because it was just that big. Um, so it's just I looked at it, and then Lucy looks at me, and she looks at the floor, and then her eyes get big. And then, yes, I have Jordan also look at us, and now he's shaking. So we tell the aunt everything. We tell her, and she's like, if you would have ignored, something really bad would have happened, so on and so forth. So before we even go home, the first thing she does is she takes us to this Catholic church in Houston. It's nice. We go inside, and she's just like, let's just get cleansed, and so on and so forth. So, that was the end of that. We never spoke of it again. And so, fast forward 12 years later, yesterday I was telling Sarah and everybody in the story about the story because it was on my mind. I was walking in my Challenger 7 park that's next to my home. I would do this like 2-3 times a week. I was walking on a path, listening to the music, and I saw this random ass horseshoe that I never see, just laying right at the base of a tree, right next to a trail. Usually a trail that a lot of people don't take, but I saw this horseshoe. This horseshoe looked the exact same color, exact same writing, exact same everything as I remember at that lake house in Austin. So, that's what triggered the story to come up. That, you could have been probably visited by the devil. Now, I remember and I recall, because when I was talking to Lucy today and like confronted her about it, and she's like, why are you, she got so defensive. And I'm like, girl, I'm a psychologist and I'm kind of your senior at work. Really? I had to pull of that. And so she's like, why would you like even bring that up and stuff like that right now? Like all of a sudden, I was like, Listen, I saw your auntie's like horseshoe. Remember that horseshoe she had? That big old silver like looking thing that like some sort of like big old cowboy would have. Um, so on and so forth. But that was there. So that was kind of like a glitch in the matrix that, Chris kind of was asking for and that I felt first time ever. And maybe all these stories that y'all are saying. So it could be that. All in all, I asked her, and we're having a conversation this afternoon, and she was driving home, and I was like, you know what? Why don't you call me back when you're home? Um, so and on it went, and so we talked, and basically, she's like, okay, let's meet at the coffee shop. Let's just talk. She contacted Jordan. And yes, so he kind of didn't pick up. He said he'll just call back. So basically, Lucy and I started talking, and as we were talking, here's a recall that I had. Now we went like 19 years old. We went to the Catholic Church. We talked to the priest. The aunt explained the story to the priest, and this is how I remember Saint Dunstan or Dunstan or whatever. The guy who, started a whole thing about the horseshoe being lucky to block the devil from entering your home or something like that, so on and so forth. So he also, he also kind of said, like, you know what? Like, this wasn't a malevolent visit. It was probably a test. And because if it was, I'm pretty sure things could have gone a lot worse. So the priest just cleanse us. We drink holy water. I have an Islamic background, but Abrahamic faith is Abrahamic faith. God's God. So great. We go home. I have not told this story to my parents. You guys were the first large group I've ever told this devil at the door story to. Anyways, we're talking, and Lucy tells me an experience she had that Sunday. The Sunday I saw that horseshoe, around that time, she was in a very bad car crash. A very bad car crash. And I'm like, wait a minute. First of all, how in the hell are you even standing? Because she showed me pictures. She showed me pictures of her car, like the front end just smashed. It was on a feeder road on 45. And just like, it was just smashed and everything. But she walked away completely unscathed. Now, she's a nurse. All right. We're in the healthcare field. She's a nurse. And the way this thing was, there's no way she could walk away unscathed like that. And her excuse at that time was grandpa or someone was watching over her. But I'm like, even if they're watching over you, dear, there is some logic behind this. You should have been hit by glass or something. I look at her because we're at the coffee shop. Like we're looking, we're at the Friendswood coffee shop, Summer Moon, and we're just like looking at her. I'm just like looking at her like hands. I'm like, are you serious? Like nothing, not a bruise, nothing. She's like nothing, and I thought nothing of it. And I'm just like, what the hell? Like, did we like? Was this bad? Because it could have like she should be in the hospital. Like the airbags deployed, everything. The car was totaled. The car she came in was her mom's car. Like when she pulled up at the coffee shop, and so I was like, "This isn't your car," but I didn't like really think anything of it. I thought she was just using her mom's car. Um, yeah. Sunday, I was walking, and at that time, I saw the horseshoe. Around that time, she was in a car crash that could have been quite fatal for her. And Jordan calls hours later, whatever the hell he was doing, because this was important, and we called him like 5 times. So he calls me back after he leaves, and we're kind of on a 3-way. And so he said Sunday, like he fell down. He was actually in the hospital doing MRIs on him, like, he was doing some tests. But he said, like, from his apartment, he tripped. And his wife thought, like, the worst. So, you know what? Like, she basically took him to the ER. He was okay. But he fell down 3 flights of stairs. But he was okay. I get it. He played football and everything. But he fell down 3 flights of stairs and he was okay. So these two, on a Sunday afternoon, had these incidences. And I was like, how did this even happen? And, his wife was next to him because they were coming back. They were like, he was perfectly fine. His wife was next to him. And she's like, the idiot was moving things, not through the elevator because he was impatient. He was going up and down the stairs. And so something tripped him. He fell like 2 to 3 flights of stairs straight down, like in an apartment building. And it was kind of like that. And I'm just like, whoa. And I wanted to see his MRIs and CT scans. Like, I was like, are you sure? And he's like, bro, I'm fine. But this happened Sunday. And I was like, what were you and Lucy wanting to talk to me about? I'm like, I'll let him go. I'm going to talk to him privately about this. I don't think his wife knows anything about this. I was like, no, we were just worried because we, linked up. And, we were just having coffee and we were going to invite you out. It's been a while. And he was like, what about the other friends? I was like, don't question it. And so I hung up the phone. I was like, I'm gonna talk to him tomorrow. Yes, these people were there. These were the two other friends that were cancellated. These are the 2 other friends that were very conscious and with me. Everyone else in the house was knocked out, drunk, or too high to get up. But Jordan and Luciana and I were the only ones who witnessed this experience. Now, on that day, nothing happened to me. And I'm just thinking all day today, I was like, was there a copperhead nearby or something? Like, maybe I could have stepped on? I don't know.
Yeah, I was actually going to say, why you saw the reminder, but you didn't have an incident is because you're the one that took the food to the door.
Yes, and I'm just like, that was so random. And so I visited one of the elders that I've learned from, one of my mentors. And I asked her, like, experiences about this. I actually poured my entire story out in detail as to what happened on Sunday and to now. And so what was there is she was just telling us that she told me, I'm sorry, not us, that this was probably the favor that was owed. She said something about this has happened in the past before. Sometimes it's just either angel, or it can be another deity, or it's been a different story in different cultures. But somehow, some way, a test for your soul has been set some way, randomly, to see how, you would be. Like, I guess it was probably, Lucifer, but it wasn't him being a devil. It was him being a fallen angel and probably like asking, testing me as to what your consciousness would do. You see a stranger, the stranger is very gloomy, scary. Are you calling 911? I mean, he asked for food. We didn't even think to call the cops because obviously we were drinking. I was 19 underage and there was weed in the house. Of course, we're not going to call the cops. But of course, she was just telling me like these things have happened, and those who didn't do anything, those who ridiculed the visitor, no matter what shape or form, their fate was always worse. Either they were cursed or something really bad happened. to where they would learn a very heavy lesson. Either they died, 2/3 of the time she said they would live to suffer through the life. The very small percentage that, they gave something, they gave an offering out of sympathy, they were given a gift of something, a second chance or something of the sort. And she told me, my elder, she told me that if it was the devil, and if it wasn't an angel, if it was a fallen, it was a messenger from the dark, a dark entity, she said that the dark owes you a favor. She's like, come to the next, the spring equinox is coming. So she wants to do a full cleanse and reading on me to see what's going on as to what is coming, because nothing happened to me. No tree fell on me, nothing. I didn't even see any wildlife there at all. Like, I heard some birds, but that was it. And we don't have anything. We don't, maybe a bobcat or coyote, a wild hog. That's the worst around this area. And nothing of the sort. I was in a park. Didn't get mugged. Didn't get nothing. So, what's the deal? And so, what? Anything? She's like, well, I can't do a reading right now. We're going to have to do it on an auspicious celestial, time. During the spring solstice would be best. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'll give you all an update on what she says after that. But what she just summarized was, you may be watched over by the light, but if you do prove something, your soul is seen by the dark, perhaps the dark has sympathy for you. So that's why, I'm over. What?
I just got that alert too about, it says that your account has been.
I'm
That's weird.
32. I'm 32 years old, I think.
Oh no. Is that what it was saying? I thought it was saying you were. Oh God, let me drop you real quick, Ollie.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, sorry. I wish I could pull that alert back up because apparently I didn't read it correctly. Ollie, make sure on your account information that it says that. Yeah. Make sure that your account says so, because apparently they think that it's not, and that's not good. Holy cow. That's not good. Well, at least you got to tell us most of everything, the update and all that. Yeah, for some reason, TikTok's. Oh, you know what it is? It's because I know what it is, Ollie. It's because you said that you were at one point in the story. Remember when you were talking about being in college? That's what, yeah. And see, I told you guys, TikTok will clock you on this type of stuff. You have to be careful. That's why I yeet people if they're driving, is because TikTok knows. Yeah. Wow. That was scary. Um, yeah, but just make sure that your account knows how old you are, that you are 32, you said? Um, Wow. Well, at least we got to hear most of the story, and definitely come back with an update for sure, because this story is very strange and very yeah, TikTok, it's smart. It's really smart. They have AI that is like super, super intelligent. Um, Cat Mama and Horror Chris, you guys still with us?
Yes.
Yes, we are.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for hanging out. It is after 2. Let's see. Oh, we got one more person. We'll do one more. Um, and then we might call it for the night.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Hello and welcome. Hello, hello.
Uh-oh.
I think it might be an accidental request. I'm gonna drop you. If you meant to come up, you can come back. But we're having fun. Yeah, I know. Well, I'll tell you what. If anybody wants to jump in the box, come up. Share a paranormal story, extraterrestrial, cryptid, glitch in the matrix. Feel free to hop in the box. We'll squeeze in one more or something like that. Um, let's see. Wow, that alert threw me off. I've never had one of those before, but I've always been afraid of like getting, like, they're gonna take my live thing away.
Yeah, they're really cracking down. I was watching a live and the guy was vaping, and the host kept telling that person, don't vape, don't vape, and the guy kept doing it, and then he got the alert. Everyone got the alert, and then he had to like drop the dude down. Like they don't play on TikTok.
Yeah, it sucks too. It's like me and Chris were laughing about this, how fast I yeeted that guy the other night because he was driving. But it's like I'm not gonna risk my platform because you don't want to follow rules. So like if somebody comes up and they're doing something, I'm
You
gonna
don't want
yeet
to
them.
risk your subscriber. Like
Yeah. Well, right, and if it's
you want to risk
driving,
your life.
especially, get off of TikTok if you're driving.
That's why like every time I would say, "Hey, I just got home. I'm gonna settle in, and then I'm gonna come on live," because I was driving home.
Yeah, yeah. There's no need to risk it or anything. So, um, but yeah, like the vaping and stuff like that. Like, hey, welcome.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Okay, so this story probably happened about 2 years ago. I work out in a shop when I work on knives, and I had a Christmas order that came in, and they didn't give me a lot of time, and I had several pieces that I had to get done. So I was staying out there pretty late at night, and I usually keep the shop doors open because the temperature is not too bad, and with the forge going, it can get kind of hot inside that shop. Well, it was probably about 11:30 at night, and I had sat down to take a break, and I started to smell. Uh, it smelled like a skunk that had been decomposing for a week or so, left out in the hot sun. And with it smelling like a skunk, I figured, hey, I live out in the country, probably just blowing in on the wind. And the smell would come and go, and it would come and go, and I really didn't think nothing of it. Well, I finally decided to get up to pick up one of my pieces that I'm working on. As I turn, I look outside the doors, the shop doors, and we've got a tractor probably about 20 yards out from the shop doors themselves. And I catch something just out of the corner of my eye. Something looming over the tractor. And I do a double take, and I look out, and I see this large figure that is just staring at me. And I'm staring at it. I've got this piece of hot metal in my hand, and as soon as I go to put it down, this thing just takes off running. And it was so fast. It was the blink of an eye. All I remember was seeing what looked like lots of hair whipping around as it took off. Well, safe to say, I decided, you know what? I don't need to stay out here any longer. So, got all my stuff ready, put it up, went back to the house. The next day that I come in, I decided to go over there and check that area out where I had seen it. Problem is that we have real sandy ground where I live, so you don't really get very good impressions in the ground unless it's wet. and it wasn't wet. So all I saw was like big old scuff marks through the sand, and the stride on whatever this thing was probably a good 3.5 to 4 feet between each stride length. And the tractor itself, where there's like a bar, a safety bar that goes over the top just in case something falls or the tractor tips, it'll hopefully keep you safe from getting hurt. It's probably a good 7 foot off the ground, and this thing, whatever it was probably a good 1.5 feet taller than that bar. I didn't feel any hostility from it, but it still freaked me out that I saw this thing. Now, where I live in Texas, there's a local story called the Holly Hymn, and it started back in the 70s. And it's a Bigfoot story, but supposedly this thing migrates through this area, and it comes through from time to time. So I just thought maybe that was probably what it was. Told my wife about it, and she looked at me like I was crazy.
Yeah, people, until they have a Bigfoot experience, they're just, yeah, they're always going to look at you like you're crazy. But yeah, we believe you. Cat Mama says we believe you.
Yeah, I just thought it was strange because, like I said, I'm from Texas. Every time you hear something about Bigfoot, you're always thinking about someplace like the Pacific Northwest. You know, Florida's got the skunk ape, things like that, the grassman in Ohio. So you never really think about Texas being one of them.
Texas is a big hotspot for squatches. Do you live up in like the top part of Texas?
No, ma'am, I live in Central Texas.
Central, but it's a very wooded area.
No, it's not really wooded. What we got out here is scenery, where I
Uh-huh.
live specifically. It's really sandy ground. You got a lot of oak trees, some mesquite, but
Hmm.
there's a lot of goat and pig and cow farmers out here.
It's like flatland.
It's pretty flat.
Yeah, I think they've been seen out in the flat areas too.
I've heard of them being seen in East Texas and South Texas, uh, but I've never heard of anything really being seen other than rumors and the stories that go back from into the 70s and 60s out here in Central Texas.
Are you close to a river?
We got the Brazos River
Yeah,
that runs through this area.
yeah. They tend to be around water too.
I always hear there's a significance between Bigfoot and coyotes too. I know we got a lot of coyotes out here because, like I said, it's the country and this is Texas, so there's plenty of coyotes everywhere.
Yeah, Cat Mama's definitely right. It is very much a hot spot. Texas has a ton of Bigfoot sightings, and also a lot of people say that it's kind of a hot spot for Dogman too. So, um, pretty interesting.
I had that story I told you last night about my encounter with whatever I didn't see. So, yeah, it's some neat stuff that happens out here.
Definitely. Well, we really appreciate you coming up and sharing that with us.
Y'all have a good night.
Okay. You too.
Is that your
All
cat?
right. Yes, Bean is having a temper tantrum. He's jumping all over top of me. He's biting me. He tripped me a minute ago when I went to get something to drink. He ran in front of my feet. He's just being so mean tonight. He's so mean. We do have a couple more people. I usually wouldn't go this late, but I know that a couple of these people have been waiting, and I think this. I'm not sure what the name is. They are back. They were here a minute ago. Hello, welcome. Can you all hear anything?
You guys hear me?
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
hear you now.
So real quick, I just want to say that, this story uh, takes place in the reservation and the Four Corners area, and it's a UFO story. And this happened one summer, one night as we were waiting for the fireworks to start. And, I was a lot younger then, my little brother too, and so anyhow, we live kind of close to this casino area, and we kind of live close to this casino in the Four Corners area, and anyhow, so we're we get in a good spot. We're sitting on this old like metal barrel thing to see up high. And me and my bro were just talking, and we're just, then the fireworks started going off. And just as soon as they started going off, everybody was paying attention to the fireworks. And you can see, the fireworks light up the whole area. Usually, that place is so pitch black, and so you could kind of see everything. And as we're looking at the fireworks, I kind of noticed something, on the mountain to my left. There's a big old mountain to the left, and I'm looking, it just kind of caught my eyes. These lights, and they were kind of multicolored, and they it was kind of weird. It looked like an airplane at first. It just kind of looked strange, how it really, just came to be in that moment. I guess it just kind of hovered down or something, and these lights just started spinning around it, and they started changing colors. And I told my little brother, I said, "Hey, do you see that?" He's like, "Yeah, I see that." And we're like, "Oh shit, what is that?" And my bro's like, "I don't know." I was like, "Dude, it's a UFO," and we're just like, "Holy shit!" And we're checking out this UFO, you know, right on the mountain. And just as soon as we said that, it just kept sitting there, and it looked like it was coming closer, coming down more, like to the mountain more. And just then, this satellite came out of nowhere, like a government satellite. And as soon as that satellite came closer, that UFO took off real fast, vanished, man. So I don't know. Uh, I've never seen
Yeah,
a
they
UFO up close, but that was the closest I've seen it. Really made me curious.
yeah, they have a tendency to just disappear like immediately. Like you have no warning. The ones that I've seen, they always just they're gone in the blink of an eye. So I love it when they do that.
I hate it. I just want to see what comes down. If like a little ladder comes down, little green guy come out, or
Yeah.
something like something cool. Ever since then, I just kind of keep a lookout on that same mountain. I I did move away from the area, a couple years ago, but that was years ago. And ever since then, I would always kind of be curious, to see what's out there, and kind of just huh, strange.
Yeah, it definitely is.
All
Well, we
right, well,
appreciate you for coming up and sharing your story with us.
yeah.
Thanks. Have a good night.
You too. Bye.
Finally got us an alien story. Very happy about that. Okay. Got a few more. We're in overtime, guys. We never go this late. Except that one time we went till like 4 o'clock in the morning. And that was a wild and crazy time. Hello and welcome.
Oh, hi.
Thanks for waiting.
I didn't know I was on. I was like, oh my goodness. Okay. My story, my husband decided that one year that because we live in Michigan, and he's like, let's go out to Grand Haven. It's right on Lake Michigan. Rented an apartment. We got all new furniture just for the summer for the kids. And there was this, I love ghost hunting. So I went out to this amazing cemetery that was supposed to be really, really haunted. And I would get so much, as soon as I'd go in, you could just feel the electricity. It was crazy. Like I'd turn on my Boo Bear, I'd do some research and kind of just get away from my family for a little bit too. So I would always go in this one little spot and kind of take a smoke and then kind of just relax a little bit. But I was always like in this one little corner where these little baby graves were. It felt peaceful there. And one time, like this big, huge buck just like comes down because Lake Michigan is like right next to the cemetery. So over the sand dunes, there's like tons and tons of, you can see the water if you go up a little bit further in the cemetery. But so one time a buck just comes down and walks right up to me, and I was just like, this is kind of crazy. Like it just kind of felt very peaceful there. So as soon as I go home from the cemetery, my daughter was outside. She was about like 8 at the time, and we come on, Charlie, go outside. Sorry, my dog is barking as soon as I want to do something. So I go home to the apartments. My daughter's outside, and the kids are making new friends, and she's like, oh, hi, to this new dog. And this dog is the apartments that we moved into was a big, huge, like it was huge, but it was beautiful. It was like waterfall in the middle, a big, huge pool, like tons and tons of forest, railroad track behind it. And Lake Michigan was like maybe a couple minute walk to this apartment. So I go home. She's like meeting this new dog that was walking around, and the owner wasn't home, so he got somebody else, like a new person, to watch the dog and walk the dog. So the dog, we asked the owner or the lady if we could pet the dog, and she's like, oh, sure. He's like so friendly, and everything like that. And we're just standing in the middle of kind of right in front of our apartment building. And she, as soon as the dog kind of had this weird look. Like I'm like all about rescuing dogs and animals. Every time I turn around, I'm rescuing something. So I just like noticed his look, and he looked like he was so scared. And my daughter at the moment is petting this dog. And all of a sudden, I like seriously followed the dog's stare, and I looked up there's like 3 stairs going up to the middle part of the apartments, and there's like only like 5 units in there, and then a couple other stairs going up, and then 3 other stairs going up to the other one. So I look at the dog, look at what he's looking at, and I see this guy, and he looks like he's like, it's like 80 degrees out, 85 degrees out. It's middle afternoon, warm. And I look at this guy, and like, I'm like, what is he doing there? He was like 85 years old, wearing a blue luge, like a suit that as soon as I saw him, I'm like, he's wearing something for a funeral. That's exactly what my mind thought. And within these few seconds, my mind was like, he doesn't belong there. And he looked at me, I looked at him, and I'm like, he was like shocked that I could see him. And I'm like, what is he doing there? All of a sudden turns around, the dog bites my daughter's hand and blood is gushing everywhere. And she's just like the dog was freaked out by what it saw, and it bit my daughter within seconds of that happening. And all of a sudden, like, I'm worried about her, caring for her. And I'm like, did you see that guy? And everybody's like, you're crazy. There was no guy there. And if any nice, normal guy would have been there, he would have come and helped rescue her, because he was only like, I'd say 6 feet from us, if that. It was like really close. And I'm like, what was he doing there? And like, we called the police to do a report, and my daughter's like telling everybody, my mom saw a ghost, and the ghost was there and it scared the dog. And she got to the hospital, same story. She's like, my mom saw a ghost. Everybody's thinking I'm crazy, but I was like, not going to stop there. I was like, okay, I am going to find out some research about this land and see what it was before that. So I go on the Grand Haven Facebook page, and I find out that it was, excuse me, a blueberry farm, and that the owners lived there for many, 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 many years. And going back, I end up finding out a name of, somebody that could help me. So I look her name up, and her name is in the cemetery. Like, it was like she belonged to the cemetery committee, fixing up graves, doing like research. So I ended up finding out that from her that the place that we were staying at was her father's. She's like in her 80s now, like 85, and she lives like a mile away from that place. But she's like, oh yeah, it was a blueberry farm, and my father always wore blue. Like, he was like, that was his thing. He'd always wear blue. I'm like, well, can you send me a picture of him? And she's like, okay. So she's like describing him, and she's like freaking out because she's like, did you see my dad? Did you see my dad? So I'll find out that he was the person that I saw. I saw the picture of him that she sent me, and finding out that he was in their whole family, because she's like 85, like most of her family has passed away, and that they're all in the cemetery that I visited like every single day that summer. So to find out, she's like, you probably saw him. And I still talk to her, and she's like, I want to meet up with you and do some research and stuff and paranormal stuff. And I'm like, but it was a weird glimpse that I saw him, and he was like totally, like, you could see, but within those moments, it was weird because I actually thought he doesn't belong here. It was like seconds, because the dog bit my daughter within that brief moment, that I thought I saw a ghost. And it was like, he didn't live there. No, I was just very strange. He was very, very, very pale, very old looking. And I'm like, he's going to a funeral. And that's exactly what she said that he was buried in a baby blue suit. So that's my story.
Oh, that's pretty amazing. That's
It
really
was just
cool.
weird because it was like his look on his face was like, you saw me. And I'm like, I've never seen I've seen like shadow figures and other things, but nothing solid like that, because I was doing some ghost hunting around there. Since I didn't live there, I thought, it's wooded. There's lots of wooded lots. I mean, it's really pretty out there, and it's just, it was just, just crazy that I know I saw a ghost. I know I saw it, and it was just like, wow. So that's one of my stories.
Very, very cool. We appreciate you sharing that with us.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Have a good night.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
We got one more person. One more. We're hanging in there tonight, guys. We're going late.
Hey, thank you for.
Hello. Yeah, thanks for waiting.
I love this live so much. I'm so happy when I'm scrolling through and I see you. I'm like, woohoo! So I've only been up here once before. I've got so many stories to tell, but I'm just telling one tonight. So little secret about people that work in the housing industry. I worked in the housing industry for like 22 years. I don't now, but I could tell you right now, like your realtors, your property managers, whoever they are, if they started off as skeptics, give them enough years in the field and they will all have some wacky stories to tell. This I guarantee you. So I'm going to tell a story from when I was working in the housing industry. There was this one house that we took over management of it, and the daughter had inherited it. It had been in her family many years. So this couple moves in, and right away they start like saying that, you know, we didn't change the locks before we rented them the house, and that the previous people are coming into their house while they're away at work during the day. They're like, yeah, we come home and things are moved around and appliances are turned on and things aren't the way we left them. So someone's coming in here. And we're like, absolutely not. We absolutely changed the locks before, you know, we rented it to you. But just to make them feel better, we just changed the locks again. Now, this is really no small thing. It's actually kind of expensive to change locks on a house, but we went ahead and we did it. So we changed the locks. Then they start accusing us, the employees, of coming to the house unauthorized. Because like, well, if you guys changed the locks, we know you did, then it's got to be like someone who works for you coming into the house while we're away at work and coming in the home. And we're like, well, are they stealing things? And they're like, no, nothing's being stolen. But like, you know, we'll come home and like our computer will be turned on and like somebody was trying to log in, we think, or like, you know, just stuff will be moved. Lights that we turned off are turned on. And so it's got to be someone in your building who's doing that. We're like, we would never do that. And we have a very strict key checkout policy. We would know if a key was missing for any time during the day, like they're fully accounted for. This is not happening like you think is happening. And the other complaint that they filed it like 3 times. And they kept saying that the door in the kitchen that goes into the attached garage wouldn't open, that it was like sealed shut. And we were like, no, the door is not sealed shut. Maybe it gets stiff, maybe it swells up with the weather. We don't know. We would send the tech or the repair guy out every time they filed, and the repair guy would come back and would say, well, there's nothing wrong with the door. I don't know why they're complaining about the door. I checked the door, I grease the hinges and it opens and closes like 25 times and the door is fine. These are crazy, troublesome tenants. So I don't know, this goes on not super long, but just frequent for over like a 2-month period, right? So then they tell us that they want to move out of the house. They want to break lease because they just don't feel safe living there because they're convinced that we've got some rogue employee coming into the house when they're at work, and that things don't work properly. Mostly their biggest complaint is the door in the kitchen that goes into the garage. So actually we discuss it with the owner, and it's a really hot rental market. It's still kind of like the summer, so it's still like the season people are moving. And the owner consents that we can offer for them to leave, that, you know, if they let us show the unit and find new renters, they can break lease without any penalty. And so we very quickly find new renters. And there's this lag period between, you know, them moving out and the new ones coming in. And you just do your normal turn. You go in, you clean everything up. And so I send Mike, we'll just use his first name, over there, who'd been to the house multiple times about this supposed door that never opens. And, you know, we just had the normal list, like, yeah, fill up nail holes in the wall, paint over them, touch up, make the place pretty for the next group. And we send Mike over. Now, Mike is the most skeptical, down-to-earth, conservative, country-loving music, shit-kicker boot wearing, you know, pickup driving dude you could ever want to know. This dude doesn't believe in nothing, and he's super sincere. Mike is sent there to do the stuff and the things, and Mike comes into the office pale as a ghost, shaking, looking like a deer in the headlights. He's like, I'm not going back there. I'm not going back there to do any more work. You can't send me there to do any more repairs or nothing. So we're like, well, what's wrong? He says, well, I was doing the stuff and the things over there that was on the list. And I went into the kitchen to fix the door that's always working, that they say never works, and it won't open. The door won't open, like it's nailed shut. So I'm trying to open that door for like 5 minutes, and I think to myself, I'm going to have to go out to the truck and get my toolbox to figure out how to get this door open. And I exit the kitchen and I go into the living room, and this is going to sound like the last woman's story. He said, there's this old man standing in the middle of the living room, dressed in black with a big wide brim black hat. And he nods at me like, hello. And I said, oh gosh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize there was anyone here in the house, sir. I'm so sorry. And all I did was I looked for just a moment at the front door of the house there, because the front door goes into the living room, because I thought to myself that I had locked the door when I entered. And when I look over to the front door is closed. And he said it was just like a blink of a moment that I looked over to the door, and then I looked back to where the man was standing, and there was nobody standing there. And he said, I went through the entire house. I looked in every closet. I looked in every bathroom. And this isn't a real big house. This is like a 1920s bungalow. It's like a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house. And he said, this man was not there. He was not in the house, but I saw him solid, like solid as you and me standing here. And then I went into the kitchen to look for him, and the door that goes into the garage was wide open. He said, I got out of that house. I locked up so fast, and I'm never going back to that house. You can't send me back there to do anything. So that's the story. We did move a couple in there, and they had no complaints. Maybe it was a fluke. Maybe it was something about that one couple that they brought with them. I don't know. But that's just one story of many over the 22 years of working with people's properties. Thanks for letting me share that.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's a good one for sure. I saw something in the comments I was wanting to respond to, but I think it's gone.
You doing okay there, sir?
Yeah, I was looking for a comment. Makes you think of the Poltergeist movie. Yeah. Oh crap! What did I click? Oh boy. Okay. Wow. Oh boy, we've got 2 more people, but guys, we're like 46 minutes past where we usually cut it off every night. I think we're gonna have to call it because it's like almost 3 a.m. here, and Meemaw's got to get some sleep, you guys. But for those of you in the box, I apologize. Thanks for waiting patiently. We will be back next Sunday night. And we're here every Sunday and Monday night telling ghost stories, gathering around the, I don't even know what to call him anymore, sheep squatch? We're gathered around the sheep squatch telling ghost stories. We appreciate you all hanging out, and hopefully you'll be back. And if you haven't already, be sure to follow and turn on post notifications so that you know when I go live. And also, I don't know if Cat Mama wants anyone to follow, but like my awesome, great co-hosts here who have been fantastic all night. And I don't think Tolly's still here. I think he went to bed. But you guys go check out Horror Chris's work. He does stuff here on TikTok. If there are any alien abductees out there who would be interested in doing an interview on a live stream this coming week, please send me a message and I will hook you up with Tully because he's looking for someone for his show. Be sure to go check out Folking Weird. That's like the word folk with an ing. Folking Weird. Weird with a Y. I feel like I need to put it on the screen. You guys go check them out. Let's see what else. New videos coming this week. Be sure to go watch my videos. Click like, whatever you gotta do. Send them to your friends. And I hope you all had a good time tonight. I definitely enjoyed it. Good night, Matthew Bortles. I'm glad you got to make it finally to one of the streams. And we will see you guys next week. And thank you, Cat Mama. Thank you, Chris, for hanging out.
Of course. I think
All
mommy's
right.
asleep.
I think so too. Alrighty, well, we'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.